Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you the player ratings and a bit of discussion on yesterday's game. Of course, it really didn't go our way, and we will dissect it, and hopefully you guys will get your player ratings in the comments as we go through them. We are joined by not co-host, sorry, but third co-host, second co-host, whatever you want to call it, John from Spurs Talk Show, because Jack is on his vacation over in the UK at the minute, on his voyage, on his trip to go and see Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which he will be there for the West Ham game, and I will be joining him as well. I'm also going to the Brighton away game, courtesy of We Are Talking TV as well, so I'm really looking forward to it. But Sean, how are you keeping, my man?
Oh, Dave, I don't know, man. I'm good. It's always good to see you, buddy. It's always good to be live with the Tottenham community. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm pretty despondent, pretty, feeling dejected and a little bit disappointed today. All the D's, the 3 D's of a loss. But you know what? We march on, and we'll go through the player ratings. But I'm okay. Apart from that, mate, I'm healthy and happy, and life could be worse. So it's all good. How you doing, bro?
No, look, I really get down. I'm a sore loser. I hate losing. I really get down when Tottenham lose. I can't lie. I'm not going to lie. It does affect me. It affects my mood. But you know what? Personally, I'm good, my man. I'm all good. Thriving and surviving. That's what they say, lad. But look, it's not all doom and gloom. I know we lost yesterday, but win our next 3 games. They're all winnable games as well. We're definitely still in the hunt. But if not, look, I would rather just. I don't want to give up yet. I want to die trying, and I want the team to die trying. Until the very end of the season. Look, even if we miss out by a couple of points, just at least leave me proud that you gave it your all till the end of the season. I don't want anybody giving up yet. And for me, I'm one of these people. Look, until top 4 is not mathematically possible, then I'll say okay. But then I'll move to the next thing that is mathematically possible until that's not achievable, and that's the way I do it. Look, that's just my expectations that I place on the team. But each to their own at the end of the day, Shawnee. But
how do you feel about? I know you probably got to get into the chat. Welcome everybody first, and then I'll ask you before we get into the player ratings. I want to ask you about the overall team stuff before we get into that. So everyone first.
164 Spurs says, can't wait, guys. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Moondog says, we threw this away. It's always the same. Look, Moondog, when Eric Dyer got that header and it was cleared off the line, I was thinking of you. And I think I actually said it during the watch line. Me and Sean were looking for you. We were like, where's Moondog? Look, what I will say is it's getting closer. It is getting closer, Moondog. Don't give up on it. But look, for me, I think it definitely is a missed opportunity. Look, yesterday, all the immediate stuff, your feelings and stuff like that, I try not to go too over the top with it. But, I think today we can have a better analysis of the situation and of the game when you've had time to think about it and stuff like that. But big up, Moondog. But I think we definitely, I think we threw it away. I really do. And I'll explain why as we get into it. Mick Carmelock says, evening, lads, keep our heads up. Come on, you Spurs. Always keep the heads up, my man. Always. Big up, Mick. Top 943 says, we bottled it 100% Spurs EFC. It will always be this way. Unfortunately, nothing will change. No, look, that's
sad that you feel that way, man.
That's one way of looking at it for sure. Yeah. But look, we've got to keep fighting. We still have games left to play. Still have a couple of games in hand on United. Yes, I know Arsenal won this evening, but they have a tricky run of fixtures coming up, So, look, it's not lost yet, but what I will say is we can't really afford to lose many more games. Rockstar 90 says, we controlled the ball well and had the possession, but these players couldn't penetrate in a throttle. 100%. I'm actually going to get into that a little bit as well, my man. We have Mark Burke says, big up the Harris Army. Big up, Mark. I hope you're keeping well. Killian Kenny says, big up, David Harris. Welcome to the Harris Army. Come on, you Spurs. I love Spurs. Big up, Killian Kenny. I hope you're keeping well. Good evening, Top 943. Maninder Singh says, nothing will change until we rebuild this team. That's the only way. No, look, 100%. It's going to be a struggle between now and the end of the season, but we all knew that. We all knew that was going to be the case all season long. We knew it was going to be the case out of the January transfer window. Now, look, I still stand by. I think we had a good January transfer window. You look at Bentancur and Kulusevski, how much they have influenced the team. We brought in quality over quantity. We haven't made the same mistakes. And we go into a summer window where I think we're in a position to go and sign players first, overhaul this squad. We have a world-class manager. Kane is in his prime. And I think this summer will tell all where this club is going to go, whether it's going to go in the right direction or whether it's going to go in the same direction that it's going at the minute, to be honest with you, Maninder Singh. But look, big summer ahead of us, my man. Big summer. And you're right, it is the only way to improve things on the pitch. And Mike Burke says, despite the inconsistency, Spurs love being part of this community. Look, it's so comforting being a part of this community like this, you know, because, look, we all feel... Look, I know we may not all take losses the same way. Some people are like, look, not going to let Spurs ruin my day. Some people, it gets them really down and everything else. But look, one thing we can all do is have therapy. This is what all this community is about. It's about debate. It's about therapy. It's about hearing different opinions, letting, frustrate, venting your anger, whatever it may be. This is what it's all about, you know. But at the end of the day, we're all going through the same crisis when it comes to our club, my man. Sean, anything you want to say to Mark?
I think it's the most important thing. Listen, Mark, it is the most important thing, mate. Like, you know, we win together, we lose together, we lose sleep together, and we die together, right? Like, we all have different opinions. There's always a million different takes on, and you can say the same thing 1,000 ways and get 1,000 different outcomes. So it's the way that we try and channel our opinions, channel our energy. And the best part about being a Tottenham fan for me is having discovered this community. And I'm new to it. I've only been here 4 months ago. But, you know, if without this, I was left to my, you know, the ups and downs of other life. And right now, life can be really tough for a lot of people, a lot harder life for most people out there than it is for me. And I'm guessing for a lot of you. So being able to just like shrug it off or get things off our chest as a community is super important. And yeah, despite the inconsistency of Spurs, Mark, you know, as long as we can all come together once a day, once a night, whatever it is, and just and as long as everyone respects everybody else's opinions, because everyone's going through their own things, then it's a really, really important thing. But yeah, this community is so such a wonderful thing to be a part of. So big up, Mark. Love it.
And look, I just got to add to that. Look, this community has absolutely changed my life. You know, coming into the lockdown, I was just getting from bed to couch, back to bed, you know, depressed, not much to do, this, that, and the other. And then just finding this community and the way people have accepted it, the way people enjoy, you know, having the debates, the way people have accepted me, accepted everybody that's come on the channel, you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, the number one thing is the support, the belief that people have behind the channel. It's completely changed my life. It's brought me into something that I never ever thought I'd be doing. You know, and it look, I wasn't in a good place before I started this. You know, I was very sick. I was in and out of work a lot, you know, and all of that stuff, in and out of hospital a lot and stuff like that. And this has completely changed everything for me. And the community is an amazing place to be. The Spurs community is the best on YouTube, awesome. In my opinion. It's so supportive. You know what I mean? And I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody for that. So big up, Mark. Mark, stop it, Mark. You bring me in a new light. You shouldn't be doing that.
I got something in my eye, Mark. I got something in my eye.
Kleenex is out. The Kleenex is out. Patrick Campbell says, evening, the Irish Hotspur. Big up, Patrick. Hope you're keeping well. Welsh guy says, evening all. Big up yourselves. The Harris Army, the Flat Cap Army. Tot943 says, I still believe even when the naysayers in the summer, the same shit will happen. It's in Tottenham's DNA. Club is cursed. Tottenham Tactic Ghost says, ladies and gentlemen, it's the main event of the evening with the players getting their scorecards from David Hoddle, Irish Hotspur Harrison, Sean Roberts Butler. I love that one. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. And come on, you
Spurs Talk Show.
Yes, that's it.
Spurs Talk Show arseholes.
I wasn't sure whether he was trying to put in STDs or not. I wasn't sure, you know, but we've got it.
I'm not sure what the A's for. What's the A for, damn it?
Army.
Oh, the Army.
Big up. We got there, damn it. We got there. You got to pre-warn us about this stuff, about the abbreviations, my man. I know. Big up, Dermot, though. It's good to see any guys bringing out a Grand Prix channel for any Grand Prix.
Yeah. Check that out on Wednesday. Wednesday's the debut, I think, Dermot, right?
Yeah. Big up, Dermot. He's another good character, so he is. Dinosaur says, too much reliance on Son and Kane to score. Bale was a big help last season.
No.
Do you know what? I agree with you, but in terms of Kulusevski, I think he actually was the better of the three yesterday. I don't think the right-hand side or filling that right-hand side was the problem. I think the issues are probably deeper, Dino, but 100%, my man. Big yourself up. James Watson is here, says, what's up, lads? Come on, you Spurs. Tough one yesterday. Look, it's a hard one to take, man. It's a hard one. Bobby K's in the building. Big up, Bobby K. This guy's got good energy. I like him. He says, good afternoon, panel, and everyone in the chat. Come on, you Spurs. Bad result, but we need to stay committed and push on to better results. And big win on Wednesday. Exactly, my man. A big win Wednesday, a big win against West Ham, a nice win against Newcastle. It changes absolutely everything. And, man, make sure you let me know how your Suns get on in their playoffs as well. Big up, Bobby K. We have Anthony Gray says, we were unlucky. One player won it for them. Kane and Son wasn't at their best, though, which was frustrating. Could have snatched at least one point. Without Ronaldo, we would have won. No more slip-ups afforded. Do you know what, Anthony Gray? I agree with that. I think if they didn't have Ronaldo, we win that. Sean, anything you want to say to Anthony?
No, I agree with it. And I'm not sure if he was just being like tongue-in-cheek with the no more slip-ups, because yesterday slip-ups were a common theme. And you know what, Dave? I actually want to ask you about this during the game, during the review, when we're going through certain players, because there's been a lot of chat on WhatsApp groups about, whether or not changing of studs could have made any difference, or whether there was any kind of, shithousery from Man United overwatering the pitch or whatever. But there was 3 or 4 players from Tottenham that slipped over 2, 3, 4, 5, however many times. I didn't see any Man United player slip over. So I'd like to know from a footballer's perspective, because I never played football, so I don't know, could a changing of boots, could that have in any way mitigated from the slip-ups? Because, Sonny had a chance in the second half. He slipped 4, and he sent it wide when he probably could have done better. Reguilon had chances in the first half, slipped, could have done better. There was lots of that going on. So to the whoever's point it was, whoever's point it was about slip-ups, I'm not sure if he was meaning it like just no more like banana skins, or whether he actually meant like no more slip-ups.
No, look, I think he probably means it in both ways. It's probably a double. I'm not sure to write a name for it, but I like it. But for the slip-ups, look, the changing in studs, it definitely can change things. Look, I have no doubt United watered the hose the living crap out of that pitch, made it very greasy, so that was hard for us to play our football and the way we were playing it against Everton and the way we were playing it against Leeds. And with the drainage system, what it does, it doesn't really clog up the pitches anymore in terms of waterlogs, not in the Premier League, but it does leave a grease across the top of the surface, which means the ball is skidding. It means any short, sharp turn, you're losing your footing on the surface. Now, a change in studs can change that.
It can, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, look, I'll give you an example. Like back when I was playing, like for pitches that were like waterlogged and stuff like that, you wore blades on them, you're sliding absolutely everywhere. But you wear studs, or you put in longer studs, you get a better grip of the surface. But when it's a nice kind of sort of dry day out there, you don't want to be wearing studs, you wear your blades, So like a change in footwear can change your sort of grip on the pitch, especially with modern day technology and in the boots and stuff nowadays, especially that they get at their level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot to it for sure. Sure. Look, I'm no expert on it whatsoever now, but a change in studs can definitely, or a change in footwear can definitely affect your grip on the ground for sure. Derek Hutchinson says, good evening, David and Sean, another defensive shit show. I would agree with that, Derek. Big yourself up, my man. We have Little Dog. There's a huge levels of difference between Arsenal and us now. Yeah.
In the league, there is, yeah. In the table, there is at least, yeah.
At the minute. Wait until they finish their games. We'll wait and see. Joseph says, just another bottle job. We need to clear out so many of these players, and hopefully that will challenge this weak mentality in the club. Season is over, guys. Sorry. Look, we definitely need a bit of an overhaul in the summer for sure. Look, I think it was Alex Gold saying last week in the Q&A, he reckons it's going to be 4 players plus replacing what leaves. So look, if 3-4 out, maybe you want 3-4 in, then plus 4. It'd be a nice transfer window, bringing in 7-8 players, to be honest with you. But we also have to understand what is realistic as well. How far can we really push out? What's realistic to come here? What's the budget like? There's so much we have to wait to kind of hear going into the January transfer window. But for sure, we definitely need to bring in some more quality players, Joseph. Big yourself up, my man. Brian Maguire is here. He says, we are too inconsistent to get top 4. I've given up on them. No, look, there's definitely that shout for it. I mean, we've played, 15 games now in 2017. I think we've lost 8, won 7. It's it's too inconsistent. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one.
Yeah.
But with some of our fixtures coming up, there's definitely a potential for a little run there. And with Arsenal's fixtures coming up, there's potential for a slip up. So I'm going to wait another couple of games before I kind of decide, or before they kind of show me that they're not going to get top 4. But I understand, Brian. Clement says, why did Lucas play? Look, he had to change something from the bench, I think, to be fair to him. Maybe the wrong person being brought off, though. Kev Williams says, I'm not going to let Spurs get me down. Big up the Irish Army. Big up, Kev. I hope you're keeping well. Kuva99, it's good to see you, my man. Good to see you. I'm starting to become difficult to believe we're still going to win the quadruple, lads. Oh, Kuva. Oh, Kuva, stop it, my man. Oh, big yourself up.
He keeps going. Love him.
Never give up on that quadruple, Kuva. It'll come in one day. What you need to do now is get, the Weetabix boxes, get cardboard cutouts of all the cups, put tin-foil around them, have them up as a vision every day. One day it will happen, Kuva. It will happen. Big up. We have the Bertie. Big up, David and please, Sean. Big up, my man. Andy Midge says, Arsenal clear 4th. As bad as it is, I've been saying it for ages. Yesterday could have been prevented. Ronaldo should have been closed down. Reggie played on side. Romero lost his man. Not good enough. No, 100%. We are going to break it down, my man. Just get through some more of these comments. Leo Ghost Audit says, oh, well, I have lost hope. Come on, you Spurs. No, look, I understand people losing hope. I'm not going to tell anybody how to support the club. But this is what the amazing thing is about the community, You can lose hope. Some of us may still have a little bit of hope. But at the end of the day, we still love the same club. And, that's what we're here to do, is just talk it out. The bottom do it with the support, my man. Big up the bottom do it. I really appreciate the support, brother. He says, we played better yesterday. Not easy to equalise twice in the same game. But the third game is too much. We needed the bench strength. Bring back Bale in summer. Let's see this one out together. And in the summer, do shrewd business. Well, look, first of all, I'll take the second part of your comment, and then we'll use your first part of the comment to kind of lead into talking about the game, the bottom do it. Look, 100%. Look, we all have to write this one out together till the summer. I mean, look, I get people maybe losing faith and dropping off and concentrating on their lives throughout. But look, just remember, you can always come back here, At the end of the day, let's just see it through to the end of the season. We started the season together. Let's end it together, my man. That's what I say to everybody out there. Bring back Bale. Look, I do believe he's going to give he'd be leaving Real Madrid in the summer, and he's giving it one more year. So, look, maybe it's one of them experienced players that maybe Conte could use, that he could bring in and he could use. So I'm definitely not against that. But Sean, let's get talking into the game yesterday. Let's use the bottom to boot his first half here, where he says we played yesterday. We played better yesterday. Not easy to equalise twice in the same game. But the third goal was too much. And just first of all, everybody smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you are. I know big push to 7K is on. And guys, feel free to get in your super chats like the bottom do it. Basically, it just means you skip the queue. We get read out. We spend a good bit of time on them. Give everybody hopefully their money's worth, and they always lead to great talking points, maybe things that we've missed that you guys bring up and stuff like that. But do not worry, we understand not everybody is in a position to do it. Some countries don't even have the option. Some people are just not in the position. Do not worry, you don't even have to ever explain yourself. Just get your comments in the chat, and as you see throughout all of our streams, we do bring them up so everyone can get their fair share. But Sean, what's your thoughts ahead of yesterday's game, and what did you want to ask me?
Well, I was just saying it was essentially that, mate. To be honest, it was for me. I took my Tottenham walk this morning, and I was reflecting on it, and it came across to me.
Famous Tottenham walks, I love it.
Yeah, well, I love it because it's a good way to kind of get the anger out of your chest after a game. Like after the game yesterday, I was dejected, I was despondent. Yeah. I was like, we lost it. Have we given up top 4? Is it game over? How do we find a way? Me and you are like people that are more generally positive than not. How do we stay positive? But then I thought about it this morning, and I was like, like neither team deserved to win the game. Neither team deserved to lose the game. We didn't show up particularly, and we're going to go through that in the player ratings. A couple of people played better. Most people didn't play to their best. Essentially, the game was decided by the expertise and the tactical and technical nous of one particular person. And we spoke about it in the pre-game ramble, mate, that Ronaldo, there was definitely a point to prove. He was angry with Ranić, with Wreck-It Ralph. He got left out, whatever was wrong with him, a hip flexor, whatever, all that nonsense.
Yeah.
But on top of that, he always plays well against Tottenham. And then the third thing we never spoke about, which probably also fired him up, was that in midweek, another player that's someone of his level and also his age demographic at the tail end of their career, Benzema goes and does what he does in midweek. Ronaldo probably it was probably written in the stars. This guy, when you fire him up, he's just he's impossible to play against. And when you think about the 3 goals that we conceded, the first goal, you could maybe make an argument that Lloris was poorly positioned. You could maybe make an argument that Dyer wasn't approaching, but ultimately it was just a world-class strike that I don't know how much blame you can really put on the Tottenham players. The third goal, whether it was Romero's fault for losing the tracker or Doherty's fault for not jumping, I've looked at it 100 times. I don't think that even if Romero was chasing him back, tracking back and didn't lose him, or Doherty, neither of them can jump 2 foot in the air. He headed that ball at about 7.5 foot in the air. He jumped 2 foot and was leaning down into it when he headed. I'm sorry, I don't believe Doherty at 5'10" or Romero at 5'11", 6 foot is capable of leaping 24 inches into or 18 inches into the air. So I just feel like 2 of the 3 goals that we conceded were, unplayable. Yeah. And we didn't play well, Dave. We weren't great, but Man United weren't great either. On the day, it was anyone's for the taking, and ultimately the difference was one man. And he's just someone that when he wants to be unplayable, he's unplayable.
Yeah.
What did you think? How do you sit?
Do you know what? I disagree with you on the third goal, but I'm going to give my analysis of the game, and then I'll get into the third goal, and I'll tell you why slightly. I fully understand your point about Ronaldo's jump, but I'll get into that in just a minute. But big up Wayne Bonner. Have I recovered yet? I'll be honest with you, man. I've been crying all day long. I've been crying since it. I'm upset, man. I'm upset, Wayne. Bodwell Mazid says, good evening, David and Sean. Big up the Irish Hotspur Army. Truth Sets You Free says, big up legends, Irish Hotspur and Sean Butler. Big up, my man. Let's welcome in Chris Agambar as well. But look, do you know what, for Shawnee? For me, I actually thought, look, it wasn't our best game, but it was one of them games where, look, both teams kind of dominated in periods of the game. Look, I thought we were playing well. I thought let's not forget we responded twice at Old Trafford, which is not an easy thing to do down the years, Yeah. So we responded twice after going behind twice. But for me, look, our build-up play, Shawnee, it was too slow. We were saying it during the game, movements off the ball. Even if you do want to rotate it from left to right, if teams sit in like United were comfortable to do in the second half, you've got to do that at pace. You've got to do that quickly. You can't just do it as slow as we were doing it. For me, there wasn't enough risk taken yesterday either. I thought everyone was always looking, maybe Bar Kulusevski, when he got the ball, he was looking to kind of play that killer pass, but everyone was just too happy just to pass on the responsibility. And don't get me wrong, I understand that every team, there's going to be periods during the game, it's called game management, where they look after possession, look after the ball.
Yeah.
At times you've got to quicken up. Even when we got the second goal, go at it, go after them, chase the game, get the third goal. We just.
I agree with that.
We fell back. We were super slow. Go find that killer instinct. Go and get it. If you can come back twice, there's a third goal in there for you. Go and put the pressure on.
Yeah, it was there for the taking.
Yeah, we just didn't do that. We finished with 57% possession. We finished with more possession, but there just wasn't enough risk taken with that possession, in my opinion. Look, the shots on target at the end of the day is what decided this game for me, Shawnee, because, it's one of the factors that decided this game. You look at them, we had both had 10 shots each. United had 10, we had 10. But they had 6 on target. We had 3 on target. We lost by a goal. We had another 3 on target. We probably would have took one of them. It ends in a draw. So, again, it links back to what I was saying about the risk taking in possession, just not creating enough, not enough movement. You're not doing anything quick enough. But a lot of times we were sloppy in possession in the final third. Misplaced passes everywhere, slipping and sliding like we're at the water park. You know, it's not good enough. And then if you look at the defense, it's individual errors that cost us, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I agree with everything you're saying, mate. But I 100% agree with you that when we had the ball, we weren't quick enough. We weren't, back to the old stale. People off the ball weren't looking, weren't moving. I agree with all that stuff. My point is just that we weren't outplayed. Like if we went up to a certain level, just to a level that you'd expect, we could have outplayed them. They weren't any better than we were. 10 players on their team were arguably as good, as bad, as indifferent to all of the players on our pitch. The man that made the difference was Ronaldo. If he wasn't on the pitch, we smashed them. We could have and should have sped the game up. They did their they employed the template: get an early goal, sit back, block, do the low block. Same old fucking story. And Tottenham still are terrifyingly poor at breaking down teams who sit back. It's embarrassing that we can't figure it out, and it's embarrassing that we don't even try to speed the game up.
Yeah.
Like, how many games now? But like I say, my analysis is based on, like, not my analysis, because I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm just, it's worth pointing out that we weren't outplayed. So I don't want people.
No, we weren't.
If my opinion means anything to anybody, then my opinion is that we shouldn't look at it and go, well, Man United is so much better than us, therefore we don't deserve top 4, because they weren't. They were not that much better than us. And that was their rebound game against City. Congratulations, they got the 3 points. But if it wasn't for your talisman, then you'd be you'd be embarrassed today as well, because without him, we would have smashed you.
No, look, I agree with that. I actually think we were the better team. Like, look, possession stats show we had more possession. We looked after the ball better. But when you look at the shots on target, they cut us open better than what we cut them open, and that's what won the game at the end of the day.
Those goals, those additional shots, the 3 shots on target that were scored, the other 3, 2 of them were also from Ronaldo.
Yeah,
yeah. I think, in fact, I think they were all from Ronaldo. From memory, I think he had a pot shot early that was saved by Lloris. He had the shot, the wide one that he cracked from Romero on the right hand side, and the one in the second half. So I'm pretty sure that all of the shots, maybe I'm wrong, but all of the shots on target were from Ronaldo yesterday.
At least 5 of them were, if not all 600%. You're correct, and I think that's the difference at the end of the day. Look, you know, Sancho set up United. They cut us open. They were just better going. They just cut us open more. And at the end of the day, Ronaldo was the decisive factor. He showed up. Harry Kane didn't, and you're absolutely spot on there. But I just can't help but feel, you know, after the second goal, once we got back level the second time, go at them. But I do want to talk about the 3 goals. I mean, look, the second one for Ronaldo, Reguilon keeping him on side. Reguilon keeping the whole lot of them on side. He didn't push out with the line. And then when he did push up, when it was already too late, he didn't get back quick enough. You know, and that's just poor defending. That's a lack of concentration. That's just poor for the first goal. Look, Højbjerg pressed. Bentancur, Ronaldo dropped into midfield. Bentancur didn't know to stick with Ronaldo or go to Fred. He got caught in between the ball. Fred flicked it round him. Okay, but Ronaldo, Dyer's dropped off completely. Ronaldo gets a touch. Dyer takes another step backwards. You got to go forward. You've got to try and engage him. There's no danger in behind you. The danger is in front of you. You know, one player in the world who cannot drop off against is Ronaldo. And what he did do is he let Ronaldo get the ball out of his feet again, take another touch. And it was a world-class strike by Ronaldo. The ball moved in the air. It was unbelievable. Look, maybe Hugo Lloris could have done a bit better, but at the end, I think it was more of a world-class strike, to be honest with you. But it was just poor defending from Dyer. I think he probably should have engaged Ronaldo. You look at the third goal. Now, I 100% get what you're saying. I mean, like, the guy is a freak at jumping in the air from corners and at jumping. He's a freak. We've all seen it. Champions League finals, you name it. Yeah. You know, iconic goals of how far he's got up. But it's a common theme with Romero and Matt Doherty at the minute, both involved in this. You know, he pushes off Romero. Romero against Burnley cost us. Ben Mee twice. He let him off the back stick. couldn't pick him up, did not pick him up. But Doherty against Middlesbrough, they had 2 corners against us when it was 0-0 and nearly scored from both of them. And both times Matt Doherty lost his man. Between the two of them, you can't keep switching off from set pieces like that. Now, I get, can they compete? But if they'd have a better chance if they learned how to do it in the first place. You know what I mean? I just think that's what kind of let us down at the end of the day. It was the individual errors, to be honest with you. But one thing I do think, ultimately, when I look back on reflection of the game, that I do think killed us. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, and I'm going to say this now, I think Højbjerg had a very good game yesterday. For me, after Kulusevski, second best player on the pitch, and that's probably harsh. Probably should be first best player on the pitch. Bentancur, not so great. But I think overall, in midfield, they had a decent game. They kind of had control of it at times. But when United have control of it, that third man, that extra man in midfield is what cost us. Fred, the flick on for Ronaldo, cost us. And he was just all day. How many times was the ball coming down that left-hand side, being put into space down there? And that overlap in midfield absolutely cost us. Pogba and Fred got forward, and Matic stayed in between the centre halves for an extra option. So they had that extra option in there. And when they did get control of the game and they were going forward, ultimately that extra man in midfield is what cost us this game, in my opinion.
So I just want to hang on. I'm just trying to get it up in there's my slides. I want to get this up because I think it's part of the conversation. I think it'll be cool. Sorry if this is a bit rudimentary, people, but I'm just waiting for it to load up. Dave, if you don't mind, I've got all our player stats we're going to go through.
Yeah.
But at the bottom end of it, I'm just waiting for it to load up it's processing at the second. I do just want to get the second goal, right? Because I've heard a lot of people today blaming. I think that Reguilon was responsible for the offside.
100%.
A lot of people are saying it's not him.
That image, because I think I know what you're blaming. A lot of people are blaming like Doherty and I think Romero.
So bring up the slides, right? So I've just got three captions, right? I'm sorry for that. Sorry, it's not.
Can't Sky Sports logo on it.
Oh, it can't. Okay. Oh shit. Sorry.
No.
Okay.
If you can maybe still shot them and put them into like Canva and get the logo off them.
Where's the Sky Sports logo? On the bottom right hand side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of that now. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just carry on talking for 10 seconds and I'll get rid of it.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. But look, the bottom do it says we need a striker, centre midfielder, left winger, right wing back, left wing back, and a centre mid without losing anyone from the current team, except one of the right wing backs or left wing backs as the bench comes weak. Thoughts? Look, I definitely think we need a backup striker, but I don't want a Vinicius. I don't want a journeyman. I'd much rather just keep Dane Scarlett about if that's going to be the case. I want someone of quality coming in here that when Kane does drop out, or that if he's not playing well, you can't take him off and you can bring someone on that you know has a goal in him. I want someone of quality. Centre midfielder, look, I think we need someone else like Bentancur, another option in there. And probably, actually, the first one I would like is a box-to-box centre midfielder. I think that would be a great use in contest system, to be honest with you. Someone that can offer an extra body going forward, but also has the energy to get back. A bit like Kante. Someone a bit like him. He does a lot of defensive work, but he offers an extra body all the time going forward, dropping into the hole, spaces, stuff like that. Left wing, look, I think we sell either Lucas or Bergwijn. I think, you have to replace them. But again, someone of quality. Like Liverpool have gone and done with Sadio Mane and Salah. They got Diaz and they got Jota. So something a bit like that. Left wing back, look, I actually don't think this is first on our priority list, to be honest with you. I think Reguilon and Sessegnon, look, we will get into Reguilon in a little while, but over the course of the season, I think he's had a decent season. I think he's good going forward. And Sessegnon has shown us that he's good defensively. So I think that's the ideal sort of two players you want at left wing back. And Sessegnon can do a bit going forward. So I think we're actually okay there for the time being in terms of other issues and other areas that we need to address. If we could get one in, brilliant. If Conte wants one, fair enough. But my own assessment, I don't think it's urgent just yet, to be honest with you. But in terms of not losing anyone, look, as far as we're understood, like Al Scholl reckons, he says it's four signings plus anyone that we lose. So if you lose someone, you've got to bring in a direct replacement. I definitely think a left-sided centre-back should be on that list as well, the bottom do it. In fact, I actually believe 2 centre-backs should be on that list. If we look at it, Sanchez, Rode and Tanganga, they're not good enough. So you need 2 more centre-backs to come in there. If you're going to continue with the 3, you need at least 5 centre-backs, at least. So I definitely think we can definitely add one of them in. And we definitely need one right wing back for sure. Definitely need one right wing back to bottom do it. But like by bringing in these players that we're talking about, it then creates that options from the bench. Then, if you know what I mean, the bottom do it. You bring in these players, plus keep the best players in this team. You create options then from the bench, and it creates competition and everything else. But big up the bottom do it. I really appreciate the support, my man. Really appreciate it.
A well played winging that day for a little second there, mate. That was brilliant. I was away for 2 minutes getting this sorted out. I think I blocked everything out. I think we're ready to go. We're just waiting for the processing to finish, and we can bring it up. I've taken out anything that looks like any branding.
Any logos, that's all, yeah. Any branding is just YouTube will take us down straight away. So
okay. We should be okay.
The whole stream would be ended and everybody's therapy would be done. You know, they'd be raging. They'd be raging.
I didn't even know that's the case.
Right into fraud sports, you know. Shane O'Neill says the squad is inconsistency all over the pitch. Unless we're playing woeful teams, we either have the defence keeping clean sheets and the forward struggling, or we score a few and the defence is muck. 100% Sean O'Neill. Could not agree more, my man. Big yourself up. Big yourself up. Shawnee, let's see now.
Is it better now? Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think that should be okay.
All right. So
go on.
There's 3 slides here, right? Because a lot of people are saying, you know, what why isn't Reguilon? Oh, sorry, it's not Reguilon to blame. Obviously, I can't. Reguilon's now been blocked out by the block here, by the Sky Sports logo block. But this is a moment just before the ball's put in, and you can already see Dyer, who's like the second from furthest right player there. He's already played the offside trap. You can see Davies is making the step up, and for what it's worth, Reguilon is about a foot behind Davies. Right? If you go to the second moment here, where this is just when the ball's about to be touched, Davies has called the offside trap. Yeah. Eric Dyer is actually turning back, but he knows he knows he's behind the last man, so it doesn't matter. Reguilon is now making the move in, right? So anyone that says to me that Reguilon's not to blame on this, unless I don't understand football, I don't. I hold my hands up, guys. Like I've never played football. I've never coached football. I've never taken any courses in any of this stuff. So I could be way off here. And some people have told me that I am wrong on this, that it's not Reguilon's job, right? That it's either Davies or Dyer's responsibility to take care of Reguilon. But to me, it doesn't make sense. Davies has called it. Dyer's onside. Reguilon's well offside. But the thing that pisses me off most about this is the next slide here, which is after the ball's been put in.
Yeah.
Reguilon's tracking back. Right? If you compare the two, Davies is further advanced than Reguilon on this slide, right? And then you turn half a second later, Reguilon is jogging back. He's jogging back. He's one of the fastest players on our pitch. Davies is trying to get back. There's two things we could be talking about here. One is, first of all, who's responsible for the offside trap not being invoked, right? Is it Reguilon? Is Reguilon someone that because he doesn't have to look over his left-hand shoulder and worry about the person behind him? Is there responsibility on his shoulders? And Dave, I'll lean to you for your opinion, because I don't know, man. I just watch football.
Let's go back to the first slide.
Okay, unfortunately on this one you can't see Reguilon. He's just covered. He's just covered out. But
so right, you have Doherty, you have Romero, you have Dyer, all in one line. Davies already realizes he's a mistake as this player over here on the ball is going to pass it. As you can see, he's in a forward motion, ready to get into that line, which eventually he does. Reguilon doesn't respond to it. And I encourage everyone to go and watch the clip of the goal after we finish talking about it. But when he drops back, he can also see Ronaldo. And he marks the player. He's caught marking the player rather than, anticipating or rather than watching our line. So if you go to the next clip, Sean.
Yeah.
The next clip here, Davies has made up for mistake when the guy. So basically,
and this is when the ball's being hit.
Yes. So when
the previous slide is the ball hasn't been hit yet. This is right now as the ball's being hit now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dyer, the offside trap is already being called for in the last clip. Or Davies it looks like he's pointing at someone or maybe shouting at Reguilon to get up. Reguilon is dropped deeper, and he ends up keeping Ronaldo on side. When the line was drawn, you could clearly see it. He's the one that kept Ronaldo on side. And as a defender, especially out wide, it's up to you to keep looking along the line and making sure you're holding it. It was a lapse in concentration. That's what it was down to at the end of the day. He reacted too late to getting in line to create the line, but then he didn't react quick enough to get back. He was too busy. He already knew. Look, when you see
he thought he was offside, wasn't he?
Protesting like Reguilon did after that, screaming to the linesman, screaming to the referee. You already know he knows he made that mistake because then he reacted way too late. Look at it here. When that ball was played, he was too busy turning around to the linesman and he's jogging back. He's reacted too late. So all around it, it's Reguilon's fault.
Well, the only other point that's worth positing to you and to the guys in the comments is could Hugo Lloris have come off his line? Could Hugo Lloris? I'm not saying he should have done. I'm asking because I don't know. Is Hugo Lloris a little bit too? He's on his line. We know that Lloris doesn't like to come for corners. We know he likes to stay on his line as much as possible. That's where he's comfortable.
Sorry, Sean. Go back to the first image. Sorry. Just keep talking. I just want to look at the first image.
This first image here?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean Ronaldo when I was speaking. I meant Sancho. Sorry, my bad.
Right. Should we go back now?
Yeah.
So I just, on this point here, I just don't know whether or not, I'm just asking. I'm not suggesting, I'm asking. Is there any blame at all on Lloris here? Could Lloris have looked at the scenario maybe a second before, like maybe at the point where the pass was made, right? When Lloris is looking out and he sees the situation, should Lloris potentially at this point be somewhere a little bit closer towards the edge of the 6-yard box and then try to intercept that? Is there any level? And I'm asking anybody if they have an opinion on it. Like I say, I don't know either way.
Honest with you, I'm not a goalkeeper specialist, to be honest with you. It's a hard one because look, he already sees the ball being squared to Ronaldo. You know what I mean? Look, if you look at it, I think it's probably good goalkeeping. He anticipating that they could get back, put a little bit of pressure on it. He squares it, but Lloris also knows that Ronaldo is running in for that square. Maybe when the ball is being squared, maybe he could come out and meet Ronaldo a bit quicker than what. Maybe he could come out and meet Ronaldo. Maybe he could have anticipated that. Maybe, but. Look,
hard ones are cool.
9 times out of 10, you score anyway, don't you? You see it time and time again. But look, we'll run through the offside one more time, Shawnee, from start to finish, just again. Like you look here, Ben Davies, like I said, has already seen that the pass is coming, so he gets up in line to try and put Sancho offside. If you go to the next picture, he comes in line. Sancho is now offside according to Ben Davies, but if you look at Reguilon in the bottom corner of your picture coming into it, he's keeping him on side. He's not keeping that line. Everyone else is in line. It's a perfect line apart from Reguilon. He's the one at fault for it. And then after that, then Sancho, he's kept on side. He has an easy pass to Ronaldo, and that's it. So for me, I don't understand how you can blame anybody else but Reguilon. He's keeping Sancho on side. So
I think so. But I'm just a spectator with my opinions, but a lot of people in certain chats today are saying it wasn't Reguilon's fault. It was Dyer's fault or Davies' fault, and that they should have commanded the line better. And I don't know.
It's a perfect line. Go back to the second picture. It's a perfect line. Doherty,
apart from
Reguilon, Dyer, Davies. Look at Reguilon.
Yeah, everyone's doing their job at Reguilon.
The thing is, we have to understand Premier League is fine margins. You've got the elite of the elite in this league. You have some of the elite players across world football, some of the elite minds. You have to stay switched on every single second. Reguilon got caught napping, and that's it at the end of the day. He's the only one not keeping the line. He's marking. I don't know what he's
best in the world. He's trying to mark the best in the world. He puts his hand up, and even when we conceded the goal, David, if you remember, when we were appealing to the referee for offside, Reguilon was so confident. He was like, nah. He walked away from the referee almost like arrogantly, as if to say, "Don't even worry about it. Go to VAR. I'm confident. Yeah. I'm confident. I've nailed him." And he was so far. He's 2 feet onside. We talk about like big toes or elbows and stuff, but It wasn't even close. Reguilon was so far playing them onside, and that wasn't his only mistake of the game. We'll talk about him in a moment, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, look, he was caught napping. 100%, Shawnee, he was caught napping. Could not agree more with that, my man. But look, we will get into player ratings now in just one more minute, guys. Truth Sets You Free says, God bless everyone. Gratitude is the attitude. Atheists can gain faith too. The power of miracles. Come on, you Spurs. Sean, anything you want to say Truth Sets You Free here?
Yes, mate. I love Truth. I love him to pieces.
Yeah.
He's a massive member of the community, and he brings positive energy all the time. He's a wonderful part of the team, and yeah, I mean, is he saying he's full of faith? He is full of faith.
Yeah,
right?
he's full of faith. This guy, he's very faithful.
God fearing. He's God fearing, right? Yeah, I love that about you, Truth. I'm God fearing as well, bro. So welcome. Bring that energy, bro. We need some help from the big man upstairs to get us to top 4 this season. So the more that you can pray, and I'll pray with you, bro. We'll get us there.
Big up, Truth Sets You Free. We definitely need a few prayers from you and a few lit candles for sure. Big up, Truth Sets You Free. He's been unbelievable since he's come into the community, my man. Then we have Al Ben, Leicester rest players against Arsenal. Thoughts?
What were they resting them for? What's the idea there? Have they got anything else on their agenda?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you, Al Ben. I'm not sure. I genuinely don't know why, to be honest with you, my man.
They haven't got anything else. So they're not in any other cups.
No, I think they're out of Europe. They're out of all the cups, as far as I'm aware, aren't they? So I don't understand why they rested players. To be honest with you, look, did they have a game midweek? I don't know. Look, Brendan. Look, there's a lot of problems there with Brendan Rodgers and that at the minute. Like, squad selections. Some players not doing what he wants them to do. So if you actually look throughout the last couple of months, he has played and brought in some youth academies and stuff like that, because there's a bit of disgruntlement going on there, Alben, to be fair, my man. But look, I suppose we will get into the player ratings. Okay. So we have an absolute. I actually really enjoyed that discussion. It went on a lot longer than what I thought it would. It's brilliant. I love it. So I do. But look, Sean, maybe before we just get into the player ratings, were we unlucky yesterday, basically, to summarise it, or did we bottle it?
Well, I don't think we were unlucky. I definitely don't think we were unlucky. I think that the game could have gone either way based on how the both teams set up, how the both teams arrived. I think we weren't unlucky. I think that on the day, the better man won. It wasn't the better team that won. It was the better man. If you needed someone to turn up to make the difference between two teams that were kind of even in players, even like we were saying this before, Dave. It was like one of those games where we're kind of about the same as two teams. We underperform. We've got the ability to do everything. But on the day, our big guys didn't show up. Their big man did. And so we weren't unlucky. We didn't bottle it. We weren't outplayed either. It's a fucking strange one, a real strange one. And I'm devastated because there was 3 points there for the taking. If we turned up and wanted it like we did against City, we would have absolutely killed them. But for whatever reason, Tottenham didn't, as a team, turn it on. But we weren't that bad either. Like I say, we weren't outplayed. So I don't know how to summarize that into a sentence that's succinct. Yeah. Essentially, I think that Ronaldo was the difference. That's it, really.
Yeah, 100%. Phil, Reggie, it's an interesting one. Look, I certainly speak to a lot of people that maybe think there is something there in it. Look, maybe there is. But for me, I just don't think left wing back is urgent right now, my man. But yeah, look, I've certainly spoke to a few that have that opinion, Phil. Andy Midge says, what's your thoughts on Pierre and Højbjerg? He seems to be quite creative the past few games, playing good ball, switching the ball through the side. I think he's been brilliant in the passing department. People have been asking questions.
Yeah.
Well, the Viking has stood up and answered them, in my opinion, Andy. I don't think we can complain too much about that in the last few games, my man. But big
up, Andy.
Everybody, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you keep smashing that subscribe button as well, guys. But look, we will crack into the player ratings, I suppose, Shawnee, will we?
Yep. Okay.
Oh, actually, I have to answer my own question. For me, do you know what, Sean? I actually think we were. Look, for me, I'm going to say I think we're unlucky, but I also think we bottled it once we got this equaliser. We didn't push on from there, which I thought maybe we could have done more in that department. So I think it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. in my opinion. But look, we will crack on into the player ratings. The first player we'll start with is Hugo Lloris. Look, for me, I think Hugo Lloris, I think he made a couple of good saves from Ronaldo. Could he have done more for the first goal? Look, it's one of them, the ball's moving. I think it was just a world-class strike, to be honest with you. A lot of people are looking into the way Hugo Lloris dived and stuff like that. For me, I just think it's a world-class strike. But it's a strange one, because outside of the couple of Ronaldo saves, and the three that went by him, which I don't think he could have done anything about, he didn't really have too much to do. Came, collected a couple of corners. Yep. Overall, I think he was okay for me. But I don't think you can give him a 6 just purely because we can see the 3. So I think a 5 is fair rating.
Yeah, I don't think you can blame him for really any of the goals. You could make an argument. You can make an argument, and it's not a stretch to say, if you look at the first goal, he was a little bit misfooted. He was a little bit clumsy. He didn't get his body across to save the first. The second one, no chance really, unless you decide, like I asked you earlier, whether or not he could have come out, but that's not Hugo Lloris's style. And the third one, the guy was, Ronaldo was just up jumping in the air. Looking at his stats though, apart from he did make the 3 saves. He made the save from Ronaldo wide. He made the save early on, which was down to his left, which was a good save as well, which was on target. And he made the third one late in the second half, all from Ronaldo. The only other thing worth pointing out is that his distribution was, again, he tried 5 long balls, only one of them got to its target. So, it's an area that, you want a goalkeeper to save goals, and he does that generally quite well. But his distribution is pretty average. He very rarely finds his target, and so yeah, a 5 for me. You can't give him a 6. You wouldn't give him a 4, but you can't give him anything. I think a 5 is a fair mark for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Everybody else in the chat, let us know what you would give Hugo Lloris. I think I've seen a 6 by somebody here, by Peter Simmons, just Peter Simmons putting in his player rating. Everyone else, start giving us your player ratings as we do go through them. So look, we'll stick with we'll give it to Peter. We'll let Peter have his 6. We'll keep moving though. Shawnee, let's go into the next one.
Oh, sorry, mate.
And we've got Romero, interesting character, this guy. I absolutely love him. I love his shithousery for the own goal for Maguire after it went in. A little nibble in his ear. I absolutely love that. Look, he was pushed off by Ronaldo for the goal. Maybe he could have been a bit more aggressive, especially after giving it the big into Maguire. Show that aggression in the defensive side of your game. But I have to say, for me, he was actually the own goal. He was involved in the build-up play for that goal. He got the ball, played it to Kane, got it back, played it to Sonny, played it to Reguilon, who squared the ball, and Maguire scored the own goal. But not only did he, what I liked about it is he didn't just play it to Sonny and stand there. He followed in, and by following in, it made Maguire go for that cross. If he wasn't following in, Maguire could have maybe left that for the head to maybe collect or something like that. But because the position Romero put himself in front of the keeper, Maguire had to make that decision whether to go for it or not. And he did. And it resulted in the second goal. So overall, look, maybe not his best game. Done okay on the ball as well for me. So I think 5 is fair. He kind of a bit disappointing for the corner kick maybe. But look, at the same time, he had a big helping hand in the second goal. So I think 5 is fair. I just think defensively we were kind of a bit poor all game long.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I give him a 6 purely because there wasn't that much difference between the 3 centre-backs. For what it's worth, he did have the most touches in the game, more than any other player on the pitch. He had 93 touches. His pass completion rate was 93%, which was about where it should be. He didn't do anything, like you said, he didn't do too much wrong. He did put in 5 long balls or 5 deep balls. 3 of them were on target, better than the other guys out there. And generally, I think that the reason why I gave him a 6, where I could have given him something else, but I loved the fact that when the own goal came in, he screamed in the face of Maguire.
Yeah. Get me an erection, man. Get me an erection. I was like, there's my porn for the night.
Yeah, 100%. He was so in your face. Listen, he didn't. I don't think I'm not sure what I've given for the other guys coming up, but I gave him a 6. I listen. He was much of a muchness. Like, I didn't think he did too much wrong. He didn't do too much right. But for the screaming in your face of into Harry Maguire, that's worth a half a point. And like I say, he had more touches on the ball than anybody else, and he distributed it well. So I thought he was a 6.
Yeah, no, interesting. Look, I see 2 4s, a couple of 6s, but 5 is overall the general rating that's in there from people. But you make some great points though, Shawnee. But the way me and Jacko usually work it, lad, is we kind of usually do it with the majority from the chat kind of wins out. So we'll go with the 5, but usually it's a 6.
Fair enough.
We have, just before we move on, a super chat here from Truth Sets Are Free. For those getting their panties in a bunch, I meant all this losing makes everyone need faith, even an atheist. Not personal. Oh, God bless. Come on, you Spurs. Look, nothing personal whatsoever, my man. Look, at the end of the day, this is a Spurs channel. If you want to have belief, you can have belief. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. But let's not argue over it. I mean, it's something that doesn't need to be argued about. We can all have our different beliefs and still talk Tottenham at the end of the day, guys. But big up, Truth. Certainly not in there. It's never personal with you, my man. Ever. Big yourself up, my man. But big up, Truth Sets You Free. And then we have one from Paul Markey as well. He says, great, intense game. Team ratings, Tottenham Hotspur 7, United 6, CR7, solid 10. Leave it at that and support the players. Come on, you Spurs. Look, Paul Markey.
That's not right.
It could be that. It could be that simple. It probably is that simple, to be honest with you. Look, Ronaldo, the deciding factor, solid 10. I thought we were the better team on the day. Just didn't do enough in possession. United did. Look, we'll always support the players, but we're just giving our overall assessment and player rating. For those who do want it, Paul, big yourself up, my man. Again, really appreciate the support, brother. But what a legend! Big yourself up, my man. But look, that takes us on to Shawnee. You want to say that to Paul Markey?
No, I think he's right. Like I think the difference on the day was Cristiano Ronaldo. We're going to go through all of these stats, but if whatever the stats we all agree on, whether it's 4s or 5s or 6s, the only thing, like, I think you could pick up the Man United players on this and you'd say the same things. Like, there was nobody on Man United's team. Paul Pogballed and all that lot. Like, they were all. I had to throw that out there because I thought it was. He shaved his head, looks like a moron. Come on, mate. But I just don't think there was that much difference. It does, like, whether we give players 4s or 5s. You would usually give someone a 4 if they were outplayed by somebody else who had a 7 on the other team in that other position. But I think if we were to put all of Man United's team players up here, we'd equally be giving a lot of them 4s and 5s. The only difference was the fact that they won and we lost. And the only reason that they won and we lost was because Ronaldo was on, the game of his life, and he's the best player of all time, if not the best, then one of the top 2 or 3. And I think that's the difference. So I think Paul Markey's spot on. Team ratings, Tottenham 7, 6, whatever. United 6, 7, whatever. Ronaldo was 10. He was the difference. And it was a big difference. So,
yeah. Big up, Paul Markey, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. And guys, if everyone is enjoying Sean's input here, guys, do get over. The link is in the channel here. I'm going to put it in just throughout the show. You can get over and smash that subscribe all the way through. And I see some people with some of the political stuff going on. Look, that's all for whatever you want to believe in or your... that's all for you outside of this. This is football only, and that's all we're going to address here. That's all we're going to talk about here. And anyone like Celine there that came in and put stuff, political stuff in, I'm just going to put them in timeout because it's not what this is about. But look, Shawnee, let's keep moving. Eric Deere, Moon Boots, I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, I saw you gave him a 4, mate. I gave him a 5 for the same sort of reasons that I gave Romero a 6. The only difference was, I guess you could make the argument that Dyer was responsive. You may make the argument. I don't know if it's the right argument or not, but the argument is that we were at fault for the second goal through a fragile offside trap. And if Dyer is the champion, if he's the captain of the back line, then maybe he needs to be a little bit more, wary of whatever. Maybe. The other factors that I think that factored into my 5 were he had a goal cleared off the line. It was his header, right? So, he couldn't do much more. He had one shot on target, and it was saved off the line by Telles, I think it was. If that guy wasn't there, he sends us 1-0 up. So it's not his fault that Telles was there. He did everything he could do with the header. We're always looking for other players to contribute more from set pieces. and just from general play, and Dyer was there today to do that. Moondog almost got his. I think it was 1-0 up. Maybe we were 1-0 down at the time. I can't remember what stage of the game it was. But that's the reason why I gave him a 5 versus the 4. The only things that were counting against him is that he tried 7 long passes during the game and he only completed 3 of them. Apart from that, he touched the ball, not as much as Romero, but his accuracy was pretty similar, 93%. So, he's pretty good with his distribution. I thought he had an okay game. I don't think he's worthy of a 4 out of 10. That's all. Again, he's not worthy of a 6, but it wasn't worthy of a 4. So I gave him a 5.
Yeah, no, big yourself up. Just quickly, Killian's in the house. Killian, don't worry, do not panic, don't sweat. You don't have to rewind. We haven't done Dirty yet, so we will get into Dirty. I know you, and Aaron Dove, you like a bit of Dirty. Look, for me, Moon Boots, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say it was a typo putting in the 4, but I don't think it was, because I remember I was just angry at the time doing the player 8 with him, because it was like, why, just watching Ronaldo, he just watched Ronaldo drop into midfield, but it didn't look like he shouted at anybody to pass him on or stuff like that. And I just felt once Ronaldo turned and got the one touch, you already knew what Ronaldo was lining up. Get close to him. There's nobody running in behind you. Close him down. He didn't do it. He backed off, and ultimately showed him the whole goal to shoot at. Yeah. Look, yes, he had that header cleared off the line. I would have been absolutely delighted for him and Moondog, to be honest with you. I would have been more delighted for Moondog because Moondog's been waiting for it. He's probably wasted about €500 on
so much money.
Coming. When it pays out, it'll come. And look, to be honest with you, I was just a bit pissed off with some of his passing yesterday. Yes, he played some good passes, but in the second half, especially when it was kind of needed, I don't know how many, he just passed 2 or 3 of them straight up to De Gea. It's kind of just have a bit more control, a bit more, a bit more calm in what you're doing. You have to be calm and not put calmness in the rest of the people. But when you're ballooning balls like that, it just shows signs of panic, and it's not good. And I was just disappointed because he's actually been very good for Tottenham this year. The stat that we read out in the pre-match build-up. But then he just goes and does that, and it just kind of just annoys me, and that's probably why I gave him a 4. But on reflection, it's harsh, and I probably should have given him a 5. But look, I think you win this one, Shawnee. Anyway, a lot of the chat are saying 5, so it's 5 for Dyer. But I will say, John Fitzpatrick, is he here? No, Aaron Dove. I know you're good friends with Johnny Boy. Ask him why he's not here when it's about Moon Boots. He was very able to call me out on Tommy Talks Ball the other day, and I know he's only joking, but so am I. But, ask him where he is now when Eric Dyer turned back into Moon Boots. Big up. We'll keep moving, though. Who have we got next?
Oh, sorry. It's me in control, isn't it? We got Ben Davies.
Ben Davies. Right. Who was this? Go on.
You go. Justify the 4. First. Okay, I'll go first. Honestly, it's much for muchness, right? So I just didn't think he played 87 minutes. He had 80 touches of the ball, 77 touches of the ball, slightly less, investment in the game than the other 2. He had 95%, 95% pass accuracy. So, essentially his distribution was great. The only thing you could argue about him again was the goal. Because I'm looking at from a defender, what are you expecting? From him defensively, you could argue that he was, he wasn't, again, part of the line, but I think he got up. So he wasn't responsible for the second goal. I think the first goal was a worldie. You have to just kind of take your hat off. And I think the third goal was, he was marking his man and he wasn't caught off. So apart from that, you got 94%. He had 3, he played 3 long balls. Every one of them was accurate. Every one of them was on point. He didn't attempt as many as Eric Dyer. I take your point about Dyer putting the long balls in, especially late on, and they just fizzled all the way through to De Gea. Yeah. He didn't do that. He tried to dribble the ball once. He was successful with it. I'm calling off some stats here, but more than kind of the seeing eye test. So maybe I'm just reeling off too much of the kind of statistical stuff. But I didn't think he was that bad. I didn't think he did anything too wrong. I felt like on the day, that Dalot was pretty rubbish, and Nemanja Matic was pretty rubbish, right? Which is his side of the pitch. Marcus Rashford didn't do too much either. So I felt like Davies had a fairly ineffectual game, but from the Man United's point of view, I didn't see much from Dalot, from Matic, or from Rashford. So from my point of view, I don't think he deserved anything more than a 6 because he wasn't involved in much from outside of the game, but he certainly wasn't responsible for any of the things that let us down. So I think a 5 is a reasonable score. And if we'd won the game, I probably would have given him a 6. The only reason I'm rounding him down is because we lost. So it's difficult to justify 6s or 7s when you lose the game. But I don't think he was responsible for too much. And I think he held his own pretty well against a fairly strong Man United right-hand side.
Do you know what? I just remember the reason why I gave a couple of them 4s actually is because as a unit, I thought maybe, they were kind of a bit off all day long as a unit. So look, with Davies, probably again maybe 4 is a bit harsh, but look, he wasn't really in the game too much yesterday. I remember there was once or twice he went forward, kind of gave away a couple of sloppy passes, but yeah, just for me, look, in fairness to him, he responded, to get back up and not play Sancho on side. Maybe he could have, because how long he's been here, could have been a bit more of a leader and dragged Reguilon up with him, screamed that, get up. That I think that probably that pisses me off a little. Like, this guy's here 9 years, scream at that guy, tell him to get forward. You know what I mean? Here 9 years, you gotta love the club. Winning's gonna mean everything to you. So if you see him that he's dropped, don't just look after yourself. Look after him too. Drag him up. It's called being a leader. Yeah. But yeah, look, for me, do you know what? In a way, he was trying, because he was at some stages getting a bit back to the Ben Davies that we had at the start of Conte's era, where he was allowed to kind of get forward on the ball.
He scored. Did he score the goal as well?
Yeah, and he got the disallowed goal. Yes, actually, yeah, you're correct, and he got the disallowed goal. But overall, I was just disappointed with the defense as a whole. Yes, yeah, I think actually I'm going to stick with my 4. I'm going to stick with my 4 for Dyer. Actually, I'm not retracting my 4 for Dyer. I stick with that. I'm sticking with
Fair enough.
But I think you went out. I think most people are not as me.
I haven't seen any. No one in the comments has given any numbers for Davies. Have they stopped giving numbers?
Ben Davies, 5, 4.5. Yeah, some of them just saying awful player, 5, 3. So I think you went out. Some of them are just giving out, venting their frustrations. So yeah, venting their frustrations. They're not even listening to us. They're just venting their frustrations in the community. I love it.
That's okay.
Big up. Right, next player is Matt Doherty. Look, I'll start off with this one, I suppose, because I'm Irish. Now, Killian, Aaron Dove, look, I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. Going forward lately, I think he has been the Irish Cafu, to be honest with you. But look, I can't. Defensively, we spoke about him, Sean, in the pre-match build-up. And I specifically designed the question because, when we do play, like, defensively, I thought maybe he might have been caught out and found suspect against United, because we mentioned the game against Leicester was a game we had to go at them in the second half, suiting them. Same as Everton, Leeds United, the onus was on us, suiting them. And I was worried about them defensively, because if you look at the City game, Emerson was brought in because he's better defensively for Doherty. But look, from the off, United's first kind of sort of chance they got was a ball. It was pinged over the head of Doherty. But it was one that he just misjudged the flight of the ball. It's one he should have, 9 times out of 10, he gets his head on it. He just misjudged it. But allowed Sancho to cut in, pull it back to Ronaldo. Ronaldo's shot. And people were debating whether it was handball off Eric Dyer or not. Very first opportunity United got. And that set the tone going forward. You can't, at Old Trafford, first minute in, anything that comes at you in the air, you've got to be able to deal with. It sets you into the rhythm of the game. He didn't. He just let it drop. Completely misread it. Dropped straight in behind him.
Yeah.
Then... the third goal from the corner kick. I mean, I get that not everybody can compete with Ronaldo in the air. In fact, very few can. He's an absolute menace. But, it just continues on at how poor he is from set pieces. He was out jumped against Middlesbrough twice. Could have cost us the game before eventually that first goal did go in. Mm-hmm. And it's just, he's not learning from his mistakes that sort of way defensively. Look, going forward, especially in the second half, I actually thought the longer the game went on, I thought first half, brilliant, pulled some lovely balls down out in the air. Great first touch at times. But the second half, especially midway second half, and the longer the game went on, his passes were getting worse. At one stage, you just went back to the old Doherty, and passed it straight inside to one of the United players. I'm screaming like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not good enough. And look, but what I will say is it does look like he is developing a good partnership with Kulusevski overall if we want a positive going forward. But, my concerns were confirmed yesterday, I thought, with Matt Doherty, and that's why I've given him the rating of 4. And I think justified, to be fair. What's your thoughts, Shawnee?
Well, as you know, Dave, I came out initially with a 6 for Doherty.
I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to out you, lad.
I was like, I'll out myself. I came out with a 6 because there's certain stats that you look at that are not reflected on the player, but they're reflected on the player that they're up against. Telles lost the ball 19 times. And if you watch in the first half, I thought Doherty, from the seeing eye test, I thought Doherty had a lot of success against Telles. And I remember him being pretty effectual, right? In the second half of the first half, that kind of last 25 minutes, I thought he was pretty stubborn. And I think he challenged or just his presence allowed Telles to let the ball go out of play. And we won lots of throw-ins down there. I know it's kind of insignificant. I know it seems like it's nothing, but I don't think he had as bad as a game as it initially appeared. And then I was looking at the stats afterwards, and I was like, well, actually, give him a 6. No, he doesn't deserve a 6 because if I'm giving 5s across the board to people that have played average, then he doesn't deserve that. And I looked at it as well, and I thought, well, his crosses, he tried 3 crosses. All of them were dog shit. None of them went anywhere. De Gea caught one of them from memory, and I think Maguire, mallet head, cleared 2 of them away. He was okay with his ground duels and his aerial duels and stuff. He kind of won 50, lost 50, whatever, 50-50 sort of stuff. I think I was probably I was definitely too optimistic with a 6. But the other reason why because I know what you're going to give Reguilon. I've already seen your ratings for Reguilon, and there's a specific statistic about the 2 of them that I think is crazy. And one of them is that Højbjerg only lost the ball 10 times, but Reguilon lost the ball 25 times. Right, and so if sometimes
Reguilon was involved a lot more going forward. If you look at the Reguilon, everything was coming down that left-hand side. And look, even though there wasn't great quality from it, he provided an option all game long. You couldn't say the same for Matt Doherty. And when you're on the ball more, you're going to give away the ball more,
That's fair. But I never saw Doherty slip over. Reguilon slipped 2 or 3 times in key moments. Again, I don't know what the whole slipping thing is about. I don't know if it's something that you could have overcome. Maybe I should. I think 4's probably right. I gave him a 6, and I realized halfway through my analysis, I was like, "Oh shit, Dave, quickly change that one, bro."
When I seen that, I was gonna absolutely cane you on it. I was gonna this is an easy one. That's 1 point for me. How can Shawnee compete on this one? Then when I sent him on and he double checked him, he's like, "Yeah, no, just notch one down on that." So.
But you know what? In reflection, I think he's probably a 4.5 or even a 4. Maybe I've been too nice on the Irishman. I don't care. He wasn't great. I don't think he was that bad, but he was probably worse than if I've given 5s to other players. He should have got a 4. So maybe I've been overly. Maybe I was. I don't know what happened with it. Maybe I had too much coffee this morning when I was giving my 5s out.
General consensus. There's more 4s, couple of 3s, and a couple of 5s, but there's more 4s than 5s. So we're going to give Matt Doherty
to you. So you get that 4. One.
Yeah. A 4, not to me because I don't want to claim him yet because I still don't think he's good enough. He has a lot more to prove, but but look, we'll move on. I think the next one we're going to get on to is Sergi Reguilon.
Yeah. So you've given him a 5. I've given him a 5. Like I say, the reason why I probably was like, okay, well, if you're going to give a 5 to Reggie, I thought Reggie was busy. I definitely think he was busy, but he slipped over, mate, so many times in the first half. At the tail end of the first half, there was 1-2 transitions between him and Sonny. And both of them were slipping over. It was madness. Dave. You remember the game? We were calling it out like, "What you doing, mate? Stand up!" And then on top of that, like of the 76 touches that he had, he passed the ball 46 times, but double figures, 10 times of that. Yeah, he didn't make it to the right person. He tried to cross the ball 7 times. None of them found anybody.
Yeah.
Right. So. This is what I'm saying, right? If you're comparing apples for apples, and we're going to give a 5 to Reggie, that's why I think a 5. Maybe we should drop Reggie down to a 4, if I'm honest. He tried 2 long balls and had zero connections, and he lost the ball 21 times during the game. 21 times of the 75 times that he touched the ball. 21 of them. One in, what is that? Like 35% of the times he touched the ball, he lost it. You know,
I 7 of them count as the crosses, Sean. You know, do you know?
Maybe. Possibly.
Yeah, I'm not
Possibly,
sure.
yeah.
I'm not sure. Look, anyway, we won't dig that deep into it. But look, when it comes to regular, look, for me, the reason why I'm giving him a 5, and I think I'm gonna look, I get he gave away what was it, the second goal. I get he gave away that goal for United, right? But he also got the assist for the Maguire own goal. You know, so he cancelled out his mistake.
Yeah, I agree.
So he gave away the mistake, he cancelled it out. And for me, that shows that he was trying to do something about it, and he did, in effect, going forward and got the assist. But look, I get there was some, he was sloppy on the balls at times, slipped at times, and the crosses. But look, some of the crosses weren't great quality, but at times there was nobody else in the box, you know, and I found myself screaming at him, get the balls into the box, get the balls into the box. Because he was, for a while, what he was doing is he kept on coming back, passing it inside, slowing it down. I was screaming, get the balls into the box, get the balls in the box. So he went and done that in the second half. But then we didn't get anybody into the box.
Correct.
I don't know how much of that I put on him because I've done what I've been screaming at him to do, you know. So how much is that of players not getting into the box, and how much is that is on him? Okay, if the crosses aren't there, go back to what you were doing in the first half, which was going back inside, which was pissing everybody off. But one thing I will say to the guy is he was a constant up and down that left-hand side all game long. And I think that's why I'd probably give him a 5, because I look at the likes of Dyer, Davies, who Doherty, they didn't really do too much to affect the game.
Yeah.
Dyer did give away a goal in that, but Reguilon did give away a goal, but he went up and made up for that. And he was trying to affect the game going forward all game long, in my opinion. So that's why I'm going to give him a 5. But look, a lot of people are saying 4s. So
yeah, maybe we're both wrong on this one. Yeah, you're right. Like, he did get the, obviously one of the crosses, this is where stats let you down. One of the crosses that were incomplete because it went to Harry Maguire. And from Harry Maguire, it went into the back of the net. So, you know what? I don't know. I can say, I think he was responsible for the goal he gave away. He was responsible for the goal that went in. Apart from that, I thought he was wasteful, slipped over a lot. If you're going to give Doherty a 4, I think that Greggy gets a 4, or both gets a 4. I don't think either of them were better than the other, to be honest. So,
fair. Well, look, I think the chat wins that one. Everyone's going with 4 on that.
Fair enough.
You know, they're all saying he's poor. Look, I 100%, I think he was poor, but I do think he was trying a lot more than maybe some of the others to try and affect the game. But look, I could definitely see the 4. I'm not going to fall out with people over 1 point for sure. Look, we'll move on into the midfield, into Bentancur. And look, Sean, I'll let you go first because you've given them a positive rating. You've given a good 7.
Yeah, I don't think that the entire team deserves 5 or lower, right? Like, on the scale of 1 to 10, I think that certain players played well. And if the scoreline was 3-2 the other way, which it easily could have been, then half of these scores would be different numbers, but we'd be looking at exactly the same performance. The reason why we're marking down is because we lost the game, right? But I actually thought that Bentancur was very good. He wasn't perfect. He certainly was a little bit sloppy. He was slow. The one criticism that I would have about him is that he wasn't fast. When you're playing against the low block, you need the ball to be distributed fast. And one of the things we always hate about, like, you know, Harry Winks or whatever, is when he gets the ball, he slows everything down. He's not fast enough. And I would probably argue that Bentancur was guilty of that as well. But, you know, in the 88 minutes that he played, he touched the ball like the second most in the game. He had a 96%, accuracy. He tried a lot of long balls. He was accurate with 75% of the long balls that he attempted. In terms of defensiveness, he participated in like 11 ground duels and won the majority of them. He won aerial duels more than he didn't. He was fouled a lot, as well as, giving a couple away. He didn't give away possession very much at all. Like, he only, for all of the touches he had, he only gave away 4 or 5 possessions. And he tackled. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he broke up Pogba. I thought he broke up Fred I thought that he frustrated them incredibly well. And look, I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to figure out what it is that we expect from Bentancur. I don't know if we want him to be the box to box. I don't know if it's so early to know exactly what sort of player and role that we want from him. But certainly, as a replacement for Harry Winks, we need someone that can give and offer reassurance to Højbjerg that, Højbjerg, it's not all on Højbjerg. And if you look at the stats, it certainly wasn't yesterday all on Højbjerg. He got really stuck in. He won the vast majority of the challenges he's involved in. He was very successful with his distribution. I don't know what we're supposed to expect from him. Are we looking for him to be someone who contributes goals? Are we looking for someone that contributes assists? Or are we just wanting him to steady the ship and break up when the opposition gets the ball? We're supposed to expect him to break up the play. If that's all we want him to do, then he did it very well. The only thing that I would have to say about a criticism for Bentancur is that he didn't distribute the ball fast enough and he was slow. Which maybe I'm being generous with a 7. I'm guessing most people are going to give him a lower number. I'm probably getting annihilated in the comments.
Anthony hasn't even given him a number. He says Sean on the Jamaican Woodbine.
Fair enough. I don't know. But nobody's going to want to give people, when we lose the game, giving 7s out is harsh. It's going to be hard to justify when you end up losing. But for me, I'm just saying how I saw it. I'm not looking at the comments. I'm probably getting called all sorts. But for me,
you're not. People just saying, no, Sean, you're wrong.
Oh, fair enough.
Nothing bad at all.
Fair enough. Well, look, tell me why he's a 6, and maybe I'm generous. Go on, tell me why he's a 6.
The reason why I'm going to give him a 6 is I actually thought he started the game very slowly. I think for the first 20 minutes, I think he got caught on the ball 3 times in midfield. He was just taking his time on it. Thought he had all day. A couple of passes, some towards the end of the game, some at the start of the game, very, very poor. I think he had a very good middle of the game. Look, don't get me wrong. There were some times where we get forward where he was key breaking the lines with the passes. And I thought overall he kind of protected the ball very well yesterday. But he just looked a small bit off the pace than what he has done in previous games. He didn't look as strong, in my opinion. He was bowled over a bit too easy, a bit too slow on the ball. And for me, I think, look, when he's in that team, he's the guy that we've brought in midfield who clearly has the ability. I mean, look at the first pass he played when he came into Tottenham jersey. Switched it 40 yards over to Lucas Moura's feet. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He has that ability, and you're just looking at him at times. Get the touch up, get your head up, and ping it. You have the ability to do it. I just think if he can bring that more to his game, he wouldn't get caught on the ball as much. And I don't think yesterday was his best game in a Tottenham jersey, but I'm not slating him either. I think he's been very good since he's got here. But just looking at the game, I think a 6 because I think he's done some very good stuff.
That's fair enough.
But I just think the first 20 minutes, I thought he was very sloppy.
Well, to be honest, Dave, in my defense, if you remember, I didn't see the first 20 minutes. Because I couldn't get access to a stream. I was live. I was my watch along, but I couldn't see. So anyone that's just saying, Sean, you're wrong because in the first half he was poor. I didn't see half of the first half.
Well, actually, do you know what? He was probably just poor for the part you were missing. To be fair,
really fair enough. Okay. Well, then let's knock him down, and I'll knock myself down to a 6 on that basis.
Okay. I think a lot of people in the chat are actually gone a bit harsher than us. A lot of them have gone 5. So none of us win this one, Shawnee. None of us win this one whatsoever.
I think that makes me 2, you 2, and the chat 2.
Yeah, well, the chat wins every time anyway. But yeah, 2, 2, 2, and 2. We'll stick with that. Pierre and Højbjerg. Now, I'm going to take this home because
go for it.
I've been a big backer of this guy, and I've got absolutely pummeled for it. Dave, you don't know what you're talking about. Dave this, Dave that. Superb against Man City. Superb against United yesterday. For me, actually, now that I think about it, probably because Kulusevski got taken off, I would have to give. So I'm upping it. I'm already upping it to an 8. Because I think he was our man of the match. I think he was best player on the pitch. For me, he turned over a lot of ball in that midfield all day long. But not only that, what a lot of people have been criticising the guy for, his ball distribution, his passing.
Yeah,
he brought that to his game yesterday as well. I very rarely did I think there was once or twice he gave away the ball. I think there was once in the opening couple of minutes, it was poor enough. But apart from that, all game long, he was absolutely unbelievable. He was unbelievable on the ball, so he was. And I just thought, which is things people have been criticising for. And with 3 in midfield, people pressing him, for him to still kind of get his passes off the way he did, brilliant. And for me, just turning over that ball all game long in there, winning ball, breaking ball. I thought he was actually excellent yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was superb as well. Again, like, the numbers would be higher if we won the game. All the numbers would be higher. We got a favourite, But if you look at the stats, just for what it's worth, I know stats don't tell a story, but on this occasion, I think they do. He tried.
Story though.
Yeah, he tried 9 long balls and was successful with 70% of them long balls, right? And to get 70% success rate with long balls is impressive. He had 4 dribbles and was successful with every single one of them. Of the 10 ground duels that he was involved in, 8 of them he came out on top. He only lost the ball a handful of times, and I made a mistake earlier when I said that Romero had the most touches in the game. He didn't. Højbjerg did. He had 105 touches, and his pass accuracy with that 105 times he had the ball was 93%. So, in terms of his distribution, in terms of his ability to win the ball back, in terms of his ability to keep the ball when he had it and to not lose it, you can't ask more from a midfielder than what Højbjerg did yesterday. Had we won the game, you'd be giving him an 8, and the only reason we're giving him a 7 is because he lost the game. I thought he was phenomenal. And to anybody out there that criticizes Højbjerg, this is not the first game for a while that he's been phenomenal. He was great against City. He was great against Leeds. He was phenomenal against Everton. He turns it on, good teams or bad teams, win, lose or draw. He gives it his all. And I don't understand the negativity around Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I think he's a phenomenal part of the team. Maybe his peak, like his potential, his ceiling of what he can achieve is kind of limited because he's not the fastest, he's not the tallest, he's not great in the air, he's getting on. Maybe you're not going to see him kick on again like you might see from an Oliver Skip or you might see from other players. But
you know what you're going to get, though.
You know what you're going to get, and you're always like, if there's like a standard deviation from the norm, if there's like a spectrum of what you're going to get, if there's a 10 out of 10 Højbjerg or an 8 out of 10, he's always somewhere close to the top. He tries his heart out. He very rarely disappoints, especially when he's... Sorry.
No, sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, especially when he's playing it next to somebody who allows him to play. Like when he's next to Winksy, he sometimes gets a hard time because Winksy doesn't do the job that a midfielder is supposed to do. And so Højbjerg he can't rely on Winksy. So he has to like stay tucked into the pocket and has to do the job of both men. Something that doesn't reflect on the stats, but something that the seeing eye test can tell you. And I just think Højbjerg is, when he's got someone next to him that he relies on and he trusts, he can get a little bit more creative with his play. And when he does, it usually does. The stats don't lie. He usually does, perform very well. So a 7. And if we won yesterday, it would be an 8 in my opinion, because I thought he was really, really, really good.
No, 100%. Look, I'm open mind to 8 because I'm actually going to declare him as my man in the match. But look, Sean, I just wanted to add to what you're saying. Like there's something to be said for a manager having a player that he can rely on, that he knows what he's going to get. You look at Jurgen Klopp with James Milner. Okay, is he good enough to be in the team week in, week out? No, he's way too old now anyway. But you can put him in there and you know exactly what you're going to get. And every team needs a player like Højbjerg. And for me, look, we've seen, like, people have been criticising his passing. It's very easy to criticise it during a period where the whole team isn't doing well. But we've seen over the summer for Denmark, he can play. We've seen over the last little while, this boy can play. He can do stuff on the ball. And I think he's starting to prove a lot of people wrong. So long may it continue, the Viking. Big up, man. I love you. Next player. We're moving on to is Kulusevski. Sean, I'm actually going to keep my 8 rating, to be fair, but I'm going to let you take this one away as well.
There's many reasons why I gave him an 8. He was definitely my man of the match. It was a close one between him and Højbjerg. I thought he was the only player up front in a game where you scored 2 goals, in a game where it could have gone either way. It was madness to me when you saw the 3 players up front that he got substituted for Lucas Moura. Dave, on the watch along, you and I were talking about we're 65 minutes in. We needed someone else. It was the game, both teams were looking tired. It was crying out for Lucas Moura to get the ball run and run at the likes of Maguire and Varane and Fred, etc. But Conte decided to take off him rather than Son, and so he only played 78 minutes. Within that time, he touched the ball 40 times, right? So nowhere near as much as the midfielders or the defenders, but that's to be expected. But within that, he had 2 key passes. He was perfect with his crosses. He had a perfect accuracy.
Yeah,
he won a lot of the ground duels. I just thought he was busy. I thought he was getting into the positions. He worked well for what it's worth with Doherty, even though Doherty had a bad game. I thought the seeing eye test, maybe the stats don't do this one justice. I thought the seeing eye test told me that the Decky was, he's just kicking on, and he was for me the best player on the pitch. And what really pisses me off a little bit, and this is not necessarily any slight on the manager, even though I have actually added, Dave doesn't know this yet, but I've added to the slides after we finished with the players. I've got the Conte rating as well, because I do think it's worth pointing out, like, what is the purpose of a manager if it's not to make tough decisions? And I do feel like Sonny, and we're going to get to Sonny shortly, but I thought that Sonny had a really, really bad day, and it's not the first bad day he's had for a while. And yet, I always thought, okay, I understand it. If all we've got is Kane and Sonny up front, if they're the only people that can contribute, then why would you take one of those two off, and bring Lucas on? You're going to, because they can always turn it on. But when you've got Kulusevski, who has proven in the short time he's been with Tottenham that he has the ability to be unselfish, to be balanced, to be, to absorb everything that he does in a split second and find the best use of the ball. And he's not afraid to have a crack, and he scores, and he creates assists. It's not as simple as saying, if I want to bring Lucas on, it can't be Sonny, it can't be Kane, therefore it has to be the other guy up front, like it used to be. When it used to be Lucas Moura, it was always going to be Lucas Moura that comes off for Bergwijn. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that Kulusevski has done enough, has justified his place, that there's synergy between the three of them. And on the day, he was playing fantastic and Sonny wasn't. He shouldn't have been taken off, in my opinion. And it annoys me that managers look at certain players in Tottenham's team and think they are unsubbable. It's a really, really frustrating thing. I get it for certain players in certain positions, but not with Kulu. He's good enough to stay on the pitch, and he should have stayed on the pitch.
Do you know what? First of all, Sue, I hope you get better. I really do. Big yourself up. So it's good to see you in. But Sean, do you know what? Usually I disagree with you when you talk about Conte. This one occasion, and just this once, I agree with you. I don't think Kulusevski should have been brought off. I get, look, he was maybe looking a bit tired, and some people are saying that, but for me, he was influencing the game. Son wasn't. You got to take Sonny off, in my opinion. Look, I can understand why Conte done it, which we'll get into because we're going to end up talking about it. So, but I'm just going to say it for now. I understand why he done it. Look, for me, Kulusevski, I thought he was our brightest spark up front yesterday. The free kick that Eric Dyer took, that Kulusevski bullied Sancho for, and got again positive, put the cross into the box, got the reward, won the penalty for Harry Kane to put away. You look at some of the other breakaways, he played Sonny in. Sonny probably should have done better with that chance. And there was another one where he slid someone else in over the far side as well. Yeah. So for me, I actually thought Kulusevski, his passing, these true balls for people, I thought he was very decisive yesterday. I thought he had a very good game. I thought he was a menace for them all out on that right-hand side anytime he did get the ball. In fact, me and Sean was screaming for us to use that side more. But for me, I thought all around Kulusevski was our best player up in the forward areas yesterday. I thought he was our most penetrative, our most exciting. What he tried, he kind of pulled off. And for me, he took risks. And for me, I thought best player. I don't think he deserved to come off. I'm going to stick by my 8 rating. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I think rightly so, like you said, he's coming. He's claimed that right-hand side. It's not even a debate anymore. It's his. And for me, best player, Bar Højbjerg on the pitch yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. How does the comments? I haven't seen many numbers. Anyone?
Yeah, Kulusevski's a couple of people are giving 8, some 7, 8, 6.5, 7, 8, Kulu 7, 6.
Wow. Okay. So maybe the chat wins. Maybe the average is 7 and we're both wrong.
No, do you know what? On this one, I'm going to tell the chat they're wrong. I'm going to stand up for myself. No, I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to put my flag in the ground here.
Fair enough.
He won the penalty. That's an assist. He played Sonny in.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that. 100%.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to stick with an 8 on this one. I'm probably going to get slaughtered for it, but I'm sticking with an 8. I'm not budging. So we'll get on to the next one. Who we got next?
We got Mr. Humin Sun. Dave, can I let you rant as long as you need to? I'm busting for a wee. I'm sorry, mate. I've got an old man's bladder. I've got an old man's bladder. I'll be back in 2 seconds, okay? Carry on.
Work away, lad. Work away. Look, for me, guys, yesterday, this is a player I really like. I've defended him over the last while. Even though he hasn't been at his best, I do think a lot of it is because he's in a new position. He's playing more inside, so it means he's having to hold up the ball a lot more than what he would out wide. All the runs that he's used to cutting inside and making, they're all kind of different because he's already in a more central area. He doesn't have a lot more time on the ball that he would usually have. And he's been involved in I think 11 out of the last 12 games, he's been involved in 11 goals out of the last 12 games in terms of goals and assists. So he has contributed. But yesterday, guys, it's the worst I've ever seen this guy. I'll be honest. Even from when he first came to Tottenham, it was the worst I've seen this guy. I thought he was absolutely shocking. The amount of times he slipped, he was just slipping everywhere. And some of them, at least actually all of them, were in good positions when we were on the ball. At one stage in the first half, it was him and Kane breaking away. Get your head up, play Kane, slips. It was just continuing on all game long with this guy. Misplaced passes, no impact on the game whatsoever. And he also missed that chance that Kulusevski gave to him. For me, he's got to at least be getting it on target and ask the question of the keeper. He didn't do it. It just scuffled wide. You got to ask the question of the keeper. For me, and it's the first time I think I've really kind of said this, but I think he was absolutely god-awful yesterday. It was the worst I have seen him. And I'm not one for slandering players, and I'm not going to continue to slander him. I think he's been a brilliant servant. I'm going to have the same stats I had with Kane. He's just going through a patch. You got to let him breathe. You got to let him get through it because ultimately he's one of the best things at this club right now. So for me, yeah, I'm going to stick with my rating of a 5. In fact, I probably actually could drop it to a 4. He was ineffectual yesterday, all game long, in my opinion. Shawnee, you're back. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, mate, I gave him a 5 purely because I love him. I love him to pieces. He's my favourite player at Tottenham.
Yeah.
It's difficult to give your favourite player a 4 or even a 3.
Yeah.
I thought he was the worst player on the pitch for Tottenham. I thought he slipped over more times than he didn't. We had a chance to equalise, to go 3-3 or 2-2 when we were 2-1 down. I forget what stage of the game it was when Kulu put him in. It might have been a little bit behind him, to be fair, on reflection, having looked at it again. But Son just slipped over every time, and he put the ball wide. There's something about Sonny. I love the man. I love him to pieces. Don't get me wrong, but I just felt like he was, out of sorts once again. He was ineffectual, like you say. Great word, Dave. Ineffectual is the adjective that describes his involvement. And I had so high hopes for him yesterday. I thought he was going to be the difference. I had bets on him, which is why, again, I'm annoyed because I wasted money on betting on him because I thought he was going to be first goal scorer, last goal scorer, every goal scorer. I had all sorts of bets on him. I thought he was just going to do what he does. But you know what? He hasn't been doing it. He hasn't been at it. I know he's the top goal scorer for Tottenham this season. And I know he's if he gets 5 more assists, then he'll be the first player ever to get the double assists and goals in 3 consecutive seasons. I'm not questioning his talent, but I think he's either exhausted. I think he's either worn out and needs a break, or something's gone on with his personal life or whatever, but he just doesn't seem like he's at the game as much as we need him to be at such a crucial stage in the season. And if he needs a break, then okay, bro, take a break, because we do have Bergwijn, who's not up to your level, Sonny. He's nothing like you. He's nowhere near as good. But if you're exhausted, I'd rather have a fresh, fit, firing Bergwijn in than an exhausted, somewhat half-baked version of yourself, son. So have a break. And like I say, the Kulusevski substitution didn't make any sense to me. The stats, for what it's worth, if we want to look at them just briefly, where are they? I mean, the stats. Let me look.
They probably didn't even give any because he was that bad, to be honest with you, Sean.
He lost the ball. He lost the ball 13 times. His passing was good. He tried 7 crosses. Only one of them was successful. Apart from that, he had 1 shot off target. He had another shot that was blocked. He dribbled okay. He had 4 dribbles and 3 of them were successful. But I don't know. Yeah, a 5 at best. If not, like I say, if I'm handing out 5s like they're candy, and I have been, I feel like he doesn't deserve one. He doesn't deserve any kind of a nice little piece of sweet. I think you need to sit on the naughty bench and recognise that you're a 4 at best, Sonny. And the only reason I gave you a 5 is because of that smile.
I love it. No, but look, Sean, actually, the chat are making us look like nice guys. 3 is the common number for Sonny.
Okay.
A lot of people very, very annoyed with him, and look, rightly so. Look, and it probably could go as low as a 3. I mean, he done F all yesterday.
It was rubbish.
Moments on the attack, with the shot off target, and you got to be testing that keeper from that position where Kulu puts you in. You know, it's a team against United. You're not going to be gifted chances. You got to take your half chances. You got to ask the question. He didn't. So for me, I think just completely a shit show yesterday for Sonny. But I'm going to stick with the fate. I'm going to stick with it like I did through Harry Kane. I think a player like Son, I think if you drop him, I think his confidence gets worse. I think you've got to let him play through it, in my opinion. But I know so many other people completely disagree with that. They're all saying to get him dropped. But look,
I'll tell you what though, I'm going to start this one. I'll let you go, but just so you know, I'm dropping him to a 5 as well. So I'll let you go first, but I'm just letting you know my number's actually 5, not 6, and let you go.
Okay. No, look, I'm going to stick with my 6 for Harry Kane. Look, don't get me wrong. I think some of his passing was a bit off yesterday, especially there was one towards the end, very last kick of the game up in their half. But look, for me, he was involved in the build-up play for the second goal with Romero. He dispatched that penalty like a pro. He came out with a goal with a game at the end of the day. And even the chance that Kulusevski put in for Sonny, Kane was the one that played the ball to Kulusevski, so he's involved in that too. So for me, I think anything we did do going forward, he may not have been on with the assist or on the end of it, but some of his hold-up play was decent enough. But I also think he was given a rough ride. There was at one stage, it was like the guy came down on his head from a challenge, and the referee just let it play. And that had to insult to injury. The ball dropped down and bounced off his bollocks. I mean, it's just like, Jesus Christ, referee. I mean, you're dishing out free kicks for them for breathing on them. Correct. And you're letting Harry Kane be dropped. You know what I mean? Being challenged in the air and then being dropped on his head. You're not giving anything. So I think he had a bit of a rough way to deal with it. But this guy is also equal Wayne Rooney's away goals in the Premier League record with 94 goals now in, I think it's 100 and just under 140 away games. So he's been absolutely clinical for us in our way. But this game, I do think he was miles off what he's been for Tottenham over the last few weeks, in my opinion. Yeah. Miles off it. Didn't have any shots of no shots on target. Not too much of an impact on the game. But like Kulusevski, the bright moments we did have going forward, he was involved in the build-up play. So for me, that's why I'm going to stick with my 6.
The only reason I gave him a 6 was because he scored the penalty, and it was a sublime penalty. And Dave, me and you were clipped, for the that cam channel, and I look back at that moment when we had the penalty, and I had my head in my hands. I was sitting back, and it was because I was so comfortable. I just know when you put the ball down and he's got a penalty kick in front of him, there's no chance he misses. So he always gets that additional point because A, he scored, B, you can rely on him for the things that he can do well. But there's a lot of people that question Harry Kane's big game. Does he show up or doesn't he? And today or yesterday was a big fucking game. It was a 6-pointer for a Tottenham season, a 6-pointer. And we came away with nothing. And the reason why is because their best player turned up and our best player didn't. I'm not saying that that Kane putting on a better performance would have equaled the game. I'm just saying that if you look at the stats, like he only had 16 accurate passes. He was the lowest, 64% pass accuracy. Nobody on either team has a pass accuracy lower than
We
that.
struggled to find them all game long, though, Shawnee. With that extra midfield, they blocked off the pass to him.
100%. And there's this tactics that we can talk about in a moment when we look at Conte that maybe we could have done better with, right? But he played the game, and for me, I thought he was way off.
Oh, way off.
And the only reason I gave him a 6 was because of the penalty. But really, I want more from him. How ridiculous is that to ask for? But because he's the talisman. He's our big man. He always turns up when we need him, but he doesn't sometimes when it really matters. And he didn't yesterday. He could have come looking for the ball. He came looking for the ball at Man City. Against Man City. He came looking for the ball at Liverpool. He came looking for the ball West Ham Carabao Cup. He comes looking for the ball when it's not given to him. Yesterday, it wasn't given to him. He didn't come looking for it. And when he did get it, he was poor. I'm not saying he was he was as good or as bad as everybody else. I'll give him the 6, but I should have given him a 5 if I'm honest.
I think do you know what the biggest distinct difference I noted from yesterday's game that I'd take away from Ronaldo and Harry Kane? Look, Harry Kane didn't show up yesterday. Look, I think it's unfair this season to say he hasn't shown up in big games. Maybe over the course of Pochettino, maybe people can have that argument. But this season, I think he showed up against Liverpool at times at the
you're right. Yeah.
Man City. But the biggest difference I take from this game is look at Ronaldo's desire to get into the box compared to Harry Kane's yesterday. Now look, Harry Kane was dropping deep at times, couldn't get on the ball as much as you like. I think tactically, United stopped that pass into Harry Kane and stopped Harry Kane from dropping deep by putting Matic in there just to sit there.
Correct.
But look, even when we are going forward, and we spoke about Reguilon and the amount of crosses he put into the box, the difference for United was Ronaldo was there every time. He was there for the corner. He was there when Sancho broke in and Reguilon kept him on side. Look at the desire he made to get into the box, took that one away. Look at how he got on the ball, dropped into space to get on the ball for the first goal to open up the shots for himself. Correct. I think that's the biggest difference you can probably take from Ronaldo and Kane yesterday. Look, definitely an off day at the office, but I'm going to stick with a 6. I think general rating in the chat is actually a 6, to be fair.
Is it?
Well, there's a...
I'm just flicking back through.
4.5, there's a 5. Okay, 4.5. No, maybe it's not. Maybe it's 5, 6.
I think because you're sticking, 5, and I was more 6, I was flimsy with my... 4, I think I get this 6, one. 5. No, look, I think 6. I think I see more. I'm going to say, look, I have my own goggles on for this, but we're sticking with a 6. All right, stick with a 6. You get it. It's fine. I don't mind.
So there you have it. Look, substitutes. I suppose we'll talk about them briefly. For me, no point in talking about Harry Winks. He had 2 passes. One of them, I wanted to rip his head off. The other one was okay. Can't rate him. Bergwijn, can't really rate him either. Lucas Moura, tight came on. Thought he was poor, to be honest with you. So, I didn't really want to give him a rating, to be honest. What I actually wanted to do was I was going to give Lucas and Bergwijn one and not give Winks one just for the laugh. And I said, no, it's probably a bit harsh.
Not applicable.
And you know what it's like these days. So, so that's my thoughts on subs. Shawnee, what's your thoughts on subs?
Yeah, nothing really to take away. They weren't given long enough. I think at best, the 2 of them were given 3 minutes plus injury time, and the other one was given, maybe 10 minutes. Not much. They didn't do much. In effect, I thought Lucas Moura was actually, it's worth mentioning Lucas. I thought Lucas Moura was busy. I called it out when we were in the watch along. There was a moment when we were down. I think it was 3-2 or 2-1 at the time, and the ball went out for play down where the players were warming up, and Lucas Moura was jumping around, screaming at the referee, putting his hand up, saying it was our ball. And I said to you at the time, David, look at him. Look he wants to be a part of this. And he came on, and I did actually think Lucas was busy. He got the ball. He won a couple of free kicks. He only got 10 minutes. I thought he should have been on earlier. I thought he should have come on at the half an hour mark. I thought Sonny should have been taken off. Lucas should have come on. If Lucas is good enough to play on the right and the centre, I think he's a sort of player that could equally slot into the left-hand side. He's a right footer. He could have done the inverted kind of the forward wing. Like I say, yeah, and this is why I brought Conte up. I know you didn't expect this to be on there. I left it as player ratings. All I did was just quickly do an outline of Conte, but
just throwing it in there, trying to catch me out. I love
I just thought I'd throw it in there.
I love it. No, let's have the discussion.
Because I do think that I think that Moura was chomping at the bit to play. When he came on, he was given 15 minutes. I thought he was busy, but look, you know what I'm like, Dave. I'll call it as I see it, and I know that I get a lot of flack from the comments for certain things. I haven't been overly impressed by Conte for the money that we pay him. I haven't been overly impressed by his tactical choices. I haven't been overly impressed by his substitutions. I didn't like it when he played, against Southampton. He put Doherty at left wing back. I don't like some of his. I'm not suggesting that he should be able to turn, copper into gold by, with the squad he's got. I know the limitations of the squad. But there's certain decisions that he's made that when we do the watch-alongs, most people in the comments and most of us that are doing the show, me, you, and Jack, across the 3 or 4 months, when he's made the decisions he's made, most of us in the comments are going like, what? Why is that happening? Why are we doing that? So I know he can't be expected to turn everything, around so quickly, but sometimes I feel like he makes bad decisions. And I thought yesterday was a bad decision to leave Son on and take Kulu off. I thought there's also an argument, when we were being played 3 in midfield, was there a rationale to go 3 for 3 in midfield? I don't know. I'd like your opinion on it.
Do you know what? Look, I'm going to start with the substitution. Look, Sean, you know where I stand. I disagree with a lot of the questions you ask Conte. Pure, and look, you're right to ask him. I think anyone that comes in this club on huge money, you deserve to ask the questions. They're taking huge money out of the club, and I'll always stand by that. You're right to ask the questions. Just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I disagree with you asking the questions.
Yeah.
But look, when it comes to Conte, I just think, and I've stated this many times, with how threadbare this squad is in terms of quality, I can't really judge any manager because it's kind of like pick your poison. He tries things, it doesn't work. He tries this thing, it doesn't work. It's kind of like we've seen it. We get an injury to one of our centre-backs. There's just nothing you can do with Sanchez. The quality is just not there. So that becomes costly. You look to switch to the 3 midfield. And look, I agree with you actually, Sean. It was one of my concerns in the thing we spoke about in the build-up. That extra man in midfield for United. And if Bruno Fernandes would have been fit, it would have been even worse. It would have been even worse. The fact that it was Matic in there instead of Bruno Fernandes or Scott McTominay, I think it actually helped us, to be honest with you. But how does he go to a 3 midfield? If Ollie Skip was fit and available, yes, probably. And that's probably why he's so frustrated that Skip is out for so long. Because he trusts Skip. It's like Højbjerg. You know what you're going to get. Put Skip out there. But with Harry Winks, he doesn't. And I don't blame any manager for not not switching up and just putting that guy in there for the sake of having another body in there, because we've seen 9 times out of 10 he's ineffectual and you're playing with 10 anyway. So
he trusted. He said vocally out loud 2 or 3 times until the game against Middlesbrough when Winksy was an absolute shit show. Before that game, he's come out and said in the press 3 times, Harry Winks, I like him. I can trust him. I can rely on him. Blah, 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 blah. All that shit. I know what you're going to say. Right? You've got to big up the players that you want a little bit more from.
If he has to rely on them. It's just if Højbjerg or Bentancur, one of them did get injured, like it already happened, he has to play. Now, Conte can't come in and sit there knowing that Harry Winks is not going anywhere. Sit there and go, look, this guy's dog shit. He can't pass the football.
So he doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it when he says it, no?
Yeah. The thing is, he can't come out and say that. He cannot come out in the press and say it. If he's asked about Harry Winks, he can give his opinion on the performance. But ultimately, most managers are going to sit there and go, I trust that player, especially in a period where there's no transfer window open.
Okay. But I'd posit to you, though. I hear what you're saying. So he's saying it to breed confidence into the player that he doesn't want to use. I get it. But he's never said that about Reguilón. He's never said that about Emerson. He hasn't said it about Sanchez. So all those players where we have that same vulnerability, he hasn't come out and said it. For me, he said it 2 or 3 times before the Middlesbrough game. After the Middlesbrough game, He then drops Winks, puts in Bentancur, right? So I'm like, well, what are you supposed to take? Do you trust what he says? Is he just saying it? Is he papering over cracks? Is it tracing paper or is it wallpaper paste? How do we know what Conte really means when he says it? Because if you're arguing that he's saying that about Winks just because he needs him, he hasn't said the same thing about other players.
But this is where it comes down to, like, this is where I'm at, Shawnee, right? So under Mourinho, he had one approach, harsh, try and get the reaction. Didn't work. Players were crying, throwing their toys out the pram. He's too mean. We're not grown-ups. We're children. He's too mean. I mean, people telling me some home truths never hurt me. You know what I mean? Especially growing up. So I don't understand why that should be any different for our squad. But I think it comes down to management. I think certain players, he knows he doesn't need to do that, and privately he can challenge them. But when it comes to Harry Winks, you look what happened under Nuno. What was the excuse after the Vitesse game? Harry Winks in the press. It's not my fault. I need a run of games. I need this. It's that. It's the everything else.
True.
So that's why when you see a player with a mentality like that, I think it comes down to man management. It's like pick your battles. Okay, does Winks need publicly backing? Probably. Does Emerson and Reguilon probably need it? No, they can probably take a bit of me challenging them behind the scenes. They don't need me in the paper. You know.
Apparently, Emerson, when somebody translated the Twitter comments about Emerson, apparently he broke down in tears. You know, Emerson, when Emerson Royale, after his bad games or whatever, apparently somebody in the team who, I'm not sure who it was, I've read about it. Again, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but somebody said when Emerson Royale was shown the tweets that people were saying about him by a player, they translated it. Oh, this is what this means. He broke down in tears. So I don't know if Emerson Royale has got the stomach to take the criticism.
Social media, when you're not playing well, is
brutal.
It is brutal, and it's completely different to a manager challenging behind the scenes. Because for all we know, like, there's different things you can do behind the scenes. Like my thing is right nowadays in the press, with the hype and the media around the Premier League, you have to watch every single word you say because people are waiting to pounce on one slip up. So you have to kind of, like, people are asking for man management to come in and know his squad. So he knows that Winks' mentality is crap. He needs that backing. So I think that's why he does it. I think we have to, as fans, we can't just accept that it's the old way it was, where it's just black and white. It's not like that anymore. You know, Ferguson evolved that on when he was using the press to manipulate games and all that sort of stuff. So I think we have to understand that managers now realize, instead of, being honest to the media because they got slammed and ridiculed and they were trying to bring them down for years, they're just like, we manipulate the media for our own agendas now. And I think that's what's come into football nowadays.
I think you're right. I
think there's too much we can take. I think, honestly, analyze the whole lot of it. But I think if we just use a bit of kind of talk like that has changed, I think you can navigate and pick and choose what they're trying to do in terms of, like, manipulate, when to manipulate the press, when not to go in on a player. Because Jose Mourinho done it. Hugo Lloris was the only one that was coming out speaking in Heiberg and saying, look, these players need this kick up the ass. You know what I mean? So Conte can't come out there and go, well, there's no transfer window to replace this guy, Harry Winks. There's a good chance, Ollie Skip's been out injured, there's a good chance that there could be an injury to Højbjerg and Bentancur. I cannot come out now and say Harry Winks is a weak bottle job, because I'm going to need to throw him out there probably 2-3 weeks down the line. Okay. And then he's not going to give it his all for me. You know what I mean? This, that, and the other. I think.
Yeah, you make a good argument.
I do get what you're saying. I do understand.
No, I think you make a good argument.
I think he got the substitute wrong yesterday, completely wrong. I think, me personally, I can understand, like most managers, they'd always leave Son and Kane on purely because if anyone's going to score, stats down the years, what we've seen tells us it's going to be Son or Kane.
Yeah, but I don't think that argument stretches. This is the point.
Not anymore.
With Kulu, it'd be one thing if you wanted to take off Moura or Kane or Son for Bergwijn. You might take off Moura. I get that. Yeah. I get that. Like, that's the old system. But Kulu's proven himself, and to me, when someone who's proven himself, even when he plays badly, he plays well. I think that to take off that guy who is playing super well and bring on Moura for someone who, and leave Sonny on, who was having an absolute nightmare, I don't agree with. So let me answer on the basis of that. You know, we lost the game 3-2, but it could have gone either way. what would you give? This is why I blocked it out, because I didn't know I had no idea.
Yeah, look, for me, do you know what, Sean? I'm actually going to give Conte, I'm going to give him a 7. I'm going to tell you why. Now, look, you may think it's a bit harsh, but no, look, hear me well. I think he has no option. He has no option but to go into 2 midfield. He doesn't trust Harry Winks. We all say when Harry Winks plays, it's like playing with 10 men. So I'm not even going to enter that argument or that debate with anybody, because we all say it as soon as the guy's put out there, we all vent and go mad about the guy. So there's nothing he can do in terms of tactics going into the game. I think he has to go with the 2 in midfield. Now, the only other option you could have said, could he have gone 2 up top with Son and Kane and got Cooling to drop, playing in attacking midfield, but drop in and help? Maybe he could have done that, but I think he sensed what we sensed. United are in trouble. Yes, they can turn it on going forward at any given moment, but I think he bats our back line to get at theirs and rip them apart. It didn't happen. But what I did think, I think the team showed plenty of fight, so it shows me that he had them up for the game. I think tactically, for a lot of the game, he got it right. We were 2-2. We got back into the game twice. I've seen him roaring and screaming on the sidelines. Constantly, walking players through the games and stuff like that. So for me, look, the substitutions. Look, this is the only criticism I have is the substitutions. I think the Bergwijn one was probably done too late. The Harry Winks one, I think, was just a last throw of the dice. Gets
unnecessary,
yeah. Gets another body on that maybe he might give you a pass. It's the Kulusevski one. I think, look, as awful as Son was, you got to take him off. Every single one of us sat there at the game yesterday, looked at that and said, Son's not doing anything today. He's not scoring. There's no point. Take him off. I would have brought off Son. I brought on Lucas Moore and kept Kulu on. But look, so for me,
you're giving him a 7.
Yeah.
See, for me, it's a 5 at best, for the same reasons you've just said. The Kulu sub, right? But also, I think that I don't know what the role of a manager is once the game has started, or even in the 10 minutes before the game starts. It's the team talk. At halftime, it's the team talk before the game. And you can change things up at halftime. You can have a word with certain players and say, you're not passing the ball fast enough. You're not moving the ball quick enough. You're not at the races. Harry Kane, come a little bit deeper. Look, mate, you're anonymous. We can't get the ball to you right now. I need you to come back. I would bring on Winksy and go 3 in midfield, but I can't. You know why I can't. So I need you to come and get the ball more than you have. Those sorts of things weren't said. We were as slow in the second half as we were in the first half. Bentancur and Højbjerg, as well as they did to get the ball back, were slow with their distribution in both the first and the second half. That could have been changed, or at least it should have been changed with a word in their shell like at halftime. That's on Conte. The Kulu substitution was on Conte. And things like telling Kane, okay, we've watched 45 minutes, bro, and you haven't been involved. Come deep, get the ball, come and win it, and ping the balls to Sonny, ping the balls to Kulu. That's a tactical thing that may not have necessarily been part of the plan before the game started. But as the game starts and progresses, the next time you get to speak to them, if you're getting paid that much money, you should be able to have ideas at halftime. And we came out the second half doing exactly the same thing we did in the first half. Now, the game could have gone either way. But for
we were
me,
on top in the second half, though, Sean, until and when we got the equaliser, that's when we kind of fell off.
We weren't really Kane was no more involved in the second half than he was in the first.
No, we were on top of the game, though. We were playing in their half
with the same tactic, because Manchester United just sat back. They were hanging on. They were doing the deep block, right? The low block. So for me, if you had to analyze Conte, you have to analyze the pre-game, the halftime, the substitutions, and they're the three areas where you can analyze. And I thought on a game that could have gone either way, there were a couple of things that he could have done. So to give him a 7, which is the same scoreline that we gave Højbjerg, the same scoreline we gave Kulusevski, I think it's madness, Dave. On this one, I think you're massively wrong.
No.
And I love you, but I want to see what the comments are talking about other things right now. Can everybody in the comments just give me a quick number? What do you give Conte? 5, 6, 7, or 8?
You know what? The thing is, though, Sean, it's kind of like, what do we expect this guy to do? There's not much he can do with the squad we have available right now. The thing is, I get you're saying maybe he can ask Kane to drop deeper, but he was asking Kane to drop deeper. Kane was dropping deeper in the second half. That's why when Reguilon was putting the balls in the box, there was nobody in there. You know, for me, maybe 7 is a stretch, but I'm still going to stand by it. But I just don't think we can ask too many questions of Conte purely because we're seeing the same issues and talking about the same issues we had under Jose Mourinho. Under Jose Mourinho, and I'm going to bring up a comment here as well. Under Jose Mourinho, what were we asking? We were asking about tactics. Can we play differently? Set up. We were talking about what's he doing at halftime? What's he doing in the press? This, that, and the other. It's all we ever done under Jose Mourinho. You know, and I was trying to sit there and like, look, with some of the crap we have, there's no point of asking these questions because there's nothing a manager can do. And it just goes to what Jay Pearson is saying. Look, for me, I don't get blindsided. For me, I just give every manager a chance. But I'll tell you what I will say. The amount of people that have come back to me a year down the line or 6 months down the line and said, you know what, Dave? You were spot on about Jose Mourinho. You're absolutely spot on. The amount of people that have said it. And we're still asking the same questions as we were today. And I'm still going to sit here. And Jay Pearson, I'd love to hear what you think now on Conte. You know, with the squad we have, is there much more that Conte can do? Now, look, don't get me wrong. I think, look, everybody plays a bit of Football Manager. Everybody plays FIFA. But real life is different. Real life is different. Nobody can look at that squad and think that there's much more Conte can get out of it.
True.
We're challenging for top 4. He is rinsing the very most out of that squad he can, especially with the numbers of players that we can rely on week in, week out. And I just think, Jay Pearson, I think if you're asking these same questions of Conte and you're probably asking them under Jose Mourinho, well, then I think you have to admit I was right when it comes to Jose Mourinho. So big up, Jay. But no, look.
It's interesting, mate. Everyone in the comments has gone. It's a pretty mixed bag. There's a lot of so Killian Gubbins 6, 24Z 6, Paul Pablo 4, Jay Pearson 5, Mizzo Watty 5, Barry Scott 6, Dino 6, Back Conte 5. I think that it's a mixed bag. You gave him a 7, I gave him a 5. I think there's probably more 5s than there are 7s. So I'm going to take the win on this one. But I take your point. You argue the case very well, Dave. You do.
No, look, like I said, maybe 7 is a bit of an overstretch. I love Conte, but the reason why I back Conte more, and I don't like this. I don't talk about substitutions. I don't talk about can we go 3 in midfield, because I would like to go 3 in midfield, but we can't do it.
You can't. Yeah.
I would like to affect the game and talk about substitutions and go, oh, Conte had fucking 5 players to pick from. Why did he pick them 3? Why didn't he pick these 3? I would love to sit here and do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it when the players he has to pick from.
I know.
Bergwijn, Lucas Moura, and a couple of others from the bench.
I'm not asking you or anybody else.
I'm not saying this is directed at you. This is just a rant I'm going on, Shawnee. I'm just going
crack on.
Let me land. The plane is coming. Let it land.
Sorry, man. Rant away. Sorry.
But I'm not going to ask him why is he not playing 3 in midfield when he's got Højbjerg, Bentancur, and Winks to pick from, because I know my feelings on Winks. And I just think there's not much more this guy can do. I'm not gonna ask these questions when I look at that squad, and I'm like, if I put myself in his position, would I be calling Winks over from the bench, giving him a talking to and putting him out there? No. Well, if I'm not willing to do that, why would I start him? You know, if I look at the bench and say, geez, you know what? I think Lucas Moura is going to change the game for me. No. I don't know what I'm going to get from him. Same as Steven Bergwijn. You don't know whether you're going to get Steven Bergwijn that came on against Leicester or some of the Steven Bergwijns we've seen coming on in other games. So when you don't have players you can rely on and players that can do things consistently, I don't ask these questions. Now, I get why other people would. I think, look, rightly so. The guy's on 14 million. I even ask the questions, but my answers or the logic I come up with is just different to what yours or other people's may be, Sean. It's just like, I think we should all ask the questions, but what I take from it is maybe just a bit different, because I just find myself in a position where I'm defending them for the same things that I was defending Jose Mourinho for. And then people, and not you, Sean, not you, because you're completely different, but there's people out there that, you know, ask questions of the manager, but then at the same time, they go mad saying, oh, get Levy out. We need to back the manager. We need to get in players. And it's like, well, if you know that the players in the squad isn't as good or nowhere near the level that we deserve as Tottenham fans, why ask the question of the manager? You know?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. And my plane has landed now. So sorry, Sean.
Mate, I'm so sorry for interrupting a rant. Like, there's nothing worse than being interrupted when you're on a rant, man. I love it. I'm so sorry. Please forgive my rant interruption. It wasn't deliberate. All I would say is this particular rationale for people there's some people in the comments saying we can't judge him yet. I'm saying I'm with you guys. Like, you have to give him till the summer. I don't want him to leave. I don't want to sack him. I love the fact that he's here, and I want him to thrive with Tottenham. I want us and Conte and Levy to get on the same fucking plane and off we go to the moon. I want that to happen, right? But the purpose of this conversation was just specifically about this game and whether or not he was, did he make good decisions or bad decisions? And I think, Dave, you justified it very well. Your take is that, he couldn't do much more than he did. And the only thing that the areas where the disagreement on the 7, 6, or 5 rating is, we agree on the same things. Right? He could have made a substitution earlier. But apart from that, could he have gone 3 at the back or 3 in midfield? Probably not. Winksy's the only option right now. When Skip comes in, then we'll develop this more, right? Every time we do the player ratings, or every time you and Jack do the player ratings in future, I would encourage you to have a Conte rating as much as a player rating.
Okay, yeah.
To see if he makes the right decisions around tactics when we have 3 viable options in the midfield, and therefore is 3 the better option than a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. So we'll go from there. But mate, great rant, and I do apologise for getting involved in it.
No. Jeez, no apology needed whatsoever. Like, you're trying to bring me back down to reality, But look,
I love it.
Ask Jack, I'm hard to control. I just go off on my own vision sometimes.
I love rants. Nothing better than a rant, and nothing worse than being interrupted mid-rant.
But what I will say, though, Sean, is me and you are setting the example. We can have we can ask the same questions, come back with 2 different ideas, 2 different answers, and we can disagree, but we're still sitting here smiling and joking at each other, and we're still 100%. Getting on. But we are exactly setting the example for sure. And Paul Pablo, he says, David, can we ask you, is Conte a master tactician? I mean, guys, you can ask me most things you want in the world within reason, to be honest with you, Paul. For me, what I will say about Conte is, look, no manager wins the amount of trophies this guy has done over the last while. No manager gets the job, especially the Italy international job, without being able to be a good tactician, without having good tactics. You don't win things without having good tactics. And that's how I'm going to answer that question, to be honest with you, Paul Pablo. I just think at Tottenham, with the players we have, the tactics are limited. Maybe there's a shout where maybe you could switch to a 4-2-3-1. But us fans under Nuno, we were screaming for a 3 at the back. Our defence is not good enough. We know that. We need to go 3 at the back. Now we have 3 at the back. I wouldn't exactly be in a hurry to switch it to a 4-2-3-1 anytime soon, because we still have a 3 at the back and we're still leaking goals. So I just think right now, I think he's limited. I think when we can start asking questions of his tactics is if he has a better squad this summer going into next season. I think once he has the options available to him, and he has, even if he doesn't have every option, but he has more than enough options, I think then you can start asking, okay, what about this? What about that? And look, it could come to the case where I could end up holding my hands up and saying, do you know what? You picked up on it earlier than me. But me right now, I'm not going to ask the questions of tactics until I think he has more players to work with to be able to change tactics and shapes and stuff like that. So big up, Paul.
100%, mate. So now we're done with the player ratings. Last thing on the agenda that I put on the slides, I don't know if you wanted to go through it or any times, but it's essentially...
Yeah, no, let's get on it.
The updated top 4 race, or the top 6 race for Europe, and then where we currently stand. So just to take a couple of seconds to look at the table, we're currently 8th, 27 games played. Wolves are ahead of us. I'm not sure if I've updated the Wolves game earlier, because Wolves beat. I didn't update the Wolves games on this slide, so forgive me for that.
Wolves won't get it anyway. We don't need to worry about Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves, West Ham, United, obviously 50 points now, two games ahead of us. Look, if we win our next 2 games, then we're back level with them on games played, and we're still ahead of them. Obviously, the main threat is Arsenal. They beat Leicester today 2-0, fairly comfortably. But Dave, I just want to kind of draw attention to this. Like I say, I don't think I updated the Wolves game. Did Wolves play Watford already? Or
I think they played them today. I think they bet them, did they not?
They did, yeah. So they're on 43 points. I haven't updated this for a while.
Forget about Wolves anyway. They're not even in there.
Forget Wolves. It's Tottenham, Arsenal, and United, right? Yeah. So just want to kind of ask your opinion, right? For me, I mentioned it before. Arsenal's running. I've taken off the Leicester game, but they've still got 7 away games to play, right? They've got 12 games to play. 7 of them are away from home. I'll tell you what I think, mate. I think games like Newcastle at Chelsea today, Newcastle were very unlucky. They lost 1-0, 90th minute or 88th minute to the Havertz. The first touch of Havertz was just off the clock. The way he brought the ball down and then just next touch poked it in. It was insane. But just before then, Newcastle had a penalty that they should have been given. And I don't understand why the VAR didn't give it. The referee decided it wasn't a penalty in real time, and it obviously wasn't a clear and obvious error. The whole subjectivity of VAR is absolute bullshit. But either way, Chelsea got away with it. They won. They beat Newcastle and got 3 points. But I do think Newcastle are at a new fucking level. Like they have gone on from in the last since
day and night.
They're on like Champions League level form, and we've got to play them at home. Newcastle have got to play them. Wolves have got to play them, and so do. That's it. But. I think but Aston Villa is also a name that has to be played by us away from home. Arsenal have got to play them. Wolves have got to play them as well. And so do West Ham. So I think there's a couple of teams that you wouldn't necessarily think of as being major threats, but I think they're going to have a fairly large impact on the top 4 race. And for me, as much as we look and say Arsenal have got it all in their hands, they played a game less than us and they've got 6 points more than us. Obviously, what happens with our home game against them, whenever that's played, is going to be pivotal. So that's like a 9-pointer. But on top of that, Dave, I just want to get your opinion quickly because for me, Arsenal have got a fucking tough run in. They've got to play 7 games away from home. Aston Villa, Palace, Southampton, West Ham, Newcastle, Spurs, and Chelsea, all away from home. Do you still? I know that yesterday was an absolute disaster. And it's frustrating and stuff. But on the basis of the run-ins, do you how much hope do you still hold? How high is the candle still burning for our top 4 hopes based on what we've got to play and who others have got to play as well?
Oh, look, for me, I don't think it's a candle, Sean. I think it's fully inflamed, my man. Look, for me. Let me say what I'm going to say. People, then you can cane me in the comments as then I go into it. Look, let me explain the type of fan I am. I'll always believe that it's mathematically possible till it's not mathematically possible. And then I'll adjust my sights or my vision accordingly to the next best thing. My standards is I demand the very best from my team. And then once it's not achieved, I'll settle for the next best after that. But I'll always have the highest standards. So, after that, now I've said that. Now you understand what fan I am. Put in the comments whatever you want about me, no problem. Look, for me, Brighton, winnable. West Ham, winnable. Newcastle, winnable. Need to win them 3 games. I think we lose one of them, it's done. I think it's over. Forget about it. But you look at Arsenal's game. We beat Brighton, they lose to Liverpool. It puts us 3 points closer to them. Aston Villa under Steven Gerrard, I think they lost today or they lost this weekend, but on the whole, they've been relatively good and they're an outside chance for Europa League conference spot. So I think they'll give them a good game, especially away from home. This is a Villa team that bet United up there at Villa Park. Palace away. Look what they've done to us. Palace is a complete different ground. It's a tight place to go to. It's very hard to play maybe the expansive game that Arsenal want to play there. So their next 3 are tough. I think the next 3 games for both teams tell us who's going to get it. 100%. But then you add in Southampton away. It's not easy. Brighton, they usually struggle against Brighton. A famous clip of Ty going mad about Mopay calling them a cheat. They struggle against Brighton.
It's true.
Man United, going to be a tough test because United have top 4 ambitions for themselves. West Ham would be a tough test. Chelsea, a tough test. So if we can get ourselves back in it, with Arsenal coming up to play and put it back in our hands, we beat them, it's ours. It's a perfect scenario. It's not over yet. There's lots of distant turns. With United, we have 2 games in hand on them. We win them 2 games in hand, we go a point ahead of them. I would say they'd probably have a more of an easier running. But with them in Champions League and the problems they have, I think you'll see some surprise results here from Man United. I think Liverpool, they get slapped about. Leicester, be interesting to see what happens there off the back of today's loss to Arsenal, whether Leicester come back or not. Everton, okay, we slapped them. They put in a very, very good performance against Man City. So if Everton turn up on that day, look, I know it's all ifs and buts. Again, they have Chelsea in there. I know a lot of it is all ifs and buts. But when people look at these fixtures and look at some of the fixtures these teams have, with the way the Premier League's been this year, no one can tell me it's a foregone conclusion yet. You can sit here and say, yeah, top four is over. So then at the end of the season, you can sit there and go, I told you so. Yep. But I'm sorry, there's nobody that can sit there and look at them fixtures and tell me there's not another couple of twists and turns in it yet. No
100%. Way. 100%, mate. There's so much road left to travel in this season. There's still 25% of the season to play, and the gap isn't that big. Listen, Arsenal are definitely the favourites. I think Man United have got, we'll see what happens with them between Man United and Liverpool next. They could count themselves in or out with that one. Listen, it's fascinating. I'm even thinking about doing watch-alongs for other games that are top four related because I feel like it's something that could be watchable and we could talk about it all the time. It's a fascinating end to the season, and anybody that's out there that despondent after yesterday or dejected or disappointed or whatever, all the D's, like I said, I feel like don't be. We've still got space. This flame, this candle is not. It's not extinguished, and as Dave says, it's not a candle. It's a fucking LED 50-watt light.
On fire, that's what it is.
It hasn't been flicked off. We haven't got the candle's not got to go out from lack of oxygen. All we need is someone to push the button, and that button's nowhere near being pushed yet. So come on, we're still involved.
That we definitely are. Paddy Harnett reckons we're not though. He says, lads, you're on drugs if you think Spurs are getting forward with the squad we have. No, look. Like I said, most of you will probably be proven right. I'm not even going to say a realist. I'm just going to say you're probably more a realist. I'm more of a
optimist. You're an optimist, bro.
Yeah, I'm an optimist. You're a realist, Paddy.
That's the glass right now. That's probably the glass, but I read that as full up enough.
To me, I read that as if you've got cotton mouth, it's dry. That's more than enough to be able to lube it all up, more than enough, and have enough for a little bit of satisfaction with a nice gulp after. More than enough. Right? It's a good colour. It looks appetizing. It's got the right density. A half glass full sort of guy. Like I said, nice. Absolutely love it. Spurs squad says, good show. Big up for your efforts. I really do appreciate that, Spurs squad. Big yourself up, my man. Really, really do appreciate the support, brother. I'm surprised anybody has any support to give after the weekend, after yesterday's result. I'm surprised many people haven't used it for like medication or a few pints or something just to forget about yesterday's result. But big up Spurs squad, really appreciate it. But guys, before we do end off, Sean, where can people find you, my man, and what can they expect over from the Spurs Talk Show?
Mate, it's been fun. It's been fun again, Dave. You guys can find me at Spurs Talk Show, at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter, Instagram, and Spurs Talk Show on YouTube. Listen, I've got my channel's fairly new. I started it in December. Last time I was on here a few days ago, it was at 595, and because of the Flat Cap Army and the Harris Army, you guys got together and hit the subscribe button a lot of times. And I'm now on like 626 or 625 or something crazy like that. So I can't thank everybody enough who hasn't subscribed or who hadn't subscribed that did, and anybody that's left who's still watching that that enjoys my my content and my contribution to this channel. On my own channel, you find lots of the same sort of stuff, right? I play games. It's kind of jovial. It's banter based. I try and stay away from the negativity. I try and stay away from the leave you out, debates, all that stuff. I try and find a reason to always find something funny or fun to talk about Tottenham, and so that's my home. But really, my home away from home is this channel, and also I've got a lot of love for a few other channels like Tottenham Tantrum Gold and Tottenham on Tour and those places. I'm a bit of a slut. I go around, but but Spurs Talk Show is where you can find my own style of show that, like I say, involves games and some comedy stuff. But
really.
I really appreciate you for having me on, Dave, as always, and I really appreciate everybody in the chat for watching me and for showing the love for the channel. Spurs Talk Show. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, look, guys, this is a guy that's come in. He's had a complete different opinion to everybody else on probably the hottest topic, which is Daniel Levy. He's a guy that's come into community that got nothing but pelters, just purely for having a difference of opinion, but has slowly ground every single one of you down to loving him just the way we do. And I absolutely love it, guys. Make sure you get over there, smash the subscribe button on Spurs Talk Show. He's a brilliant guy. He's brilliant at what he does. His channel is only new, and look, the content speaks for itself. Some of the stuff he's added in. So, guys, it's definitely worth the subscribe. So make sure you do get over there. And he adds so much over here to the Irish Hotspur. Anytime you're on the phone to him, Sean, are you available today? No problem, we're there. So, guys, the least we can do is just plug his channel and get the love over there to support the guy. I've set a target of 1K over there. I've set a target.
It's keep going up, mate. Every time I come on, every time I look at the numbers, every time you mention my name, it's keeps going up, man. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much, Dave.
No, look, we've set a target of 1K before the end of the season. We're not going to stop till it's done. We want Shawnee to get the rewards of helping us, guys. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody else out there as well. Look, you know, could have come in today, could have easily been hostile, could have been everyone arguing left, right, and center. It hasn't been like that. You know, I think we've all vibed together, had a good discussion, good talk, plenty of debates, people disagreeing, agreeing, but it's all been done in a respectful manner, and that's what I absolutely love and appreciate most, guys. I want to say a massive thank you to Sean for stepping in for Jack over the last couple of days. While Jack's in the UK, a massive thank you to him, guys, for yesterday and today. A massive thank you to you guys out there for tuning in. A massive thank you to everybody who smashed the like, the subscribe, and helped support the channel financially. It cannot be done without you. I have so much plans, greater plans than what you're seeing now. Plans to absolutely elevate it, uplift it, and everything else. Just stick by with the Irish Hotspur. It is only going to go and get better. But a massive thank you to everybody. It's been good crack. I probably needed the laugh and the therapy. As always, see you back here tomorrow, guys, for the fan show, starting at 9:30. But I do have to end it, guys, by 11:30, 12 o'clock, because I am up early Tuesday to get a flight over to England, and I'll be over there for a week. We're going to see what sort of content we can get up on the channel for you guys during the week, just to have stuff to watch. Might be possible, might not be possible, but we're going to wait and see what we can do. But guys, see you back here for the fan show tomorrow. Don't look, be like us. It's easier to be like us. Smile on your face, glass half full sort of people. It's a lot easier, trust me. Be like us. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.